Well, these are the two teams. Scotland in their all navy blue, Craig Gordon in goal, Scott McTominay, Grant Hanley and Liam Cooper are the back three, Aaron Hickey and Andrew Robertson are the wing backs, John McGinn, Billy Gilmore and Callum McGregor in the midfield, Lyndon Dykes and Shea Adams are the two up front. When Ukraine played here last June, they were wearing blue. Tonight they're in all yellow, and this is their side that lines up with Bushchan in goal, a back four of Karavayev, Zabani, Matvienko and Mikolenko, a midfield of Yarmolenko, Malinovsky, Stepanenko, Zinchenko and Sihankov, and Yaramchuk is the lone striker. And we talked a lot about the emotion. During those anthems, those Ukrainian players were extremely focused.
Extremely focused. I mean, even though we are quite far away, you can still tell on their face they're up for it, arm in arm. They are here to win. You can see that from before the even ball is kicked. You know they're coming to give their all here. And Scotland are going to have to be at their best if they want to get something out of this.
Do you know what? Something we're not complaining about it too much, but I think the Ukrainians have turned Scotland round.
They have,
which, you know, you like to play your own way, the way that you're used to. It's not so big a thing in international football, to be honest, because you don't play in the national stadium that often. They've turned them round, but secondary now. As we said all along, once you cross that line, once that whistle is blown, you have got one thing in your mind, and it's winning this game of football. And it should be a cracker.
It should be. The Ukrainian players have just broken from a huddle. Their coach, Alexander Petrakov, we heard from him last night. He said the game is difficult, the situation is very difficult. I'll have an intimate conversation with my players ahead of the game. Those words probably were just reiterated from Zinchenko, the captain, and we're about to get underway. Tonight, One Nation will be a step closer to World Cup qualification, but this match carries a greater significance. Ukraine's first game since the Russian invasion 98 days ago. It symbolises peace, hope, unity and freedom. And regardless of the results, it will be an emotional evening. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. We're also live on BBC Sounds. Scotland are playing from right to left as we look, as the ball was flicked on by Dykes on the edge of the penalty area, as the sun still shines on for what is the first day of summer. And it's felt like summer in Glasgow. The last 2 days you couldn't necessarily say that.
Take that surprise out of your voice, young man. Yeah, it's been boiling here. It's a perfect night for a game of football.
McGregor wins the challenge in the midfield. Stepping out of defence was Zabani. And it's back with Malinovsky. Yarmolenko on this near side of West Ham United. First game since November for Ukraine, although Steve Clarke did make the point that Scotland equally haven't played a competitive match since November. But of course, due to the obvious reasons, their domestic league never resumed in February after the winter break. But just looking at it in terms of competitive games for their clubs, of the respective starting 11s, 417 appearances for their clubs for Scotland, 313 for Ukraine. And they have been in a training camp in Slovenia for the last month.
It's less from the Ukrainians, but it's not wildly less, you know, so there's certainly got some match fitness within that group. But on top of that as well, there is the other, you know, offsetting factor of they might be slightly less tired. You know, some of those Scottish players have played a lot of games, particularly Robertson.
Yeah, of course. I remember obviously when I wasn't playing at Aston Villa and I used to come here and play all the international games and I just could focus solely on this, so you never know.
Yeah. Gordon collects the ball on the edge of his area away towards our right hand side, has to shield the sun from his eyes as McTominay, who's playing as part of that back three, chips it long. Stepanenko now to Zinchenko, just short of the halfway line. Zinchenko holds onto the ball and plays it out towards the left back Mikolenko of Everton, and then it just gets stuck underneath the feet there of Matvienko. A little bit of panic on the edge of the area, but eventually back towards his goalkeeper, chips it out towards Zinchenko. Forward ball now out towards Sihankov on that far side, the left, as they play from left to right. And the referee, by the way, is from Holland, very experienced. Danny McAleeny gives a free kick to Scotland.
Do you know what's a real surprise? You know, they have lined up as a back four, haven't the Ukrainians? Up until the last game, just about every game in their qualifications before that, they were a back three. So they're taking a chance. And I think Stevie Clarke's obviously got information that's going to happen. That's why he's got two men up front. So it's 2 on 2 up front.
Yeah, but the one thing you have to be is fit when you play three at the back and you have your wing backs. You have to be a fit team. So maybe that's come into his thinking a little bit.
They have been playing friendlies. They beat Borussia Mönchengladbach in May. They've taken on Empoli and Rijeka of Croatia. They had 2 further friendlies behind closed doors, but details of that never came to light as Dykes heads the ball on into the penalty area from a long free kick. Adams was looking for the knockdown. Ukraine have cleared the ball away, and the roar from the Scottish supporters. They take a quick throw on this left-hand side. Robertson, the Scotland captain. McGregor sporting that face mask as he has ever since he took a blow in the Scottish Cup earlier in the season, and then Scotland go all the way back. And the ball is hit long by Cooper of Leeds United, and coming out of his goal and just marshals that ball out for a goal kick is Georgi Bushchan, and it'll be a goal kick to Ukraine. 0-0. BBC Radio 5 Live, 4 minutes played.
And they're not scared to go direct, Scotland, are they? You know, obviously you've got Lyndon Dykes up there, tall man. He's had 2 attempts at headers, won both of them so far. And it's up to the 2 players that are playing around him, Adams and McGinn, to get on the end of it. But that's not to see Scotland are a long ball team. They often start that way. When there's a bit of space in the middle, they can then control the midfield, but not afraid of getting the ball up there.
And neither are Ukraine. The ball hit very, very long out of that goal kick. Sihankov keeps it in play on that left-hand side. The return ball from Yaramchuk, in it goes to the penalty area. Cleared, back out towards Sihankov on the left. Zinchenko provides the support, looks for Yaramchuk once again, and there was McTominay just to break up the move, and Hanley has to clear under pressure from Zinchenko, and does so. And Dykes' header goes back. Scotland still have it, and now they play the ball. There was a late challenge, and the referee is going to take action here, and Yaramchuk is shown a yellow card.
It's definitely a late one, isn't it? I mean, Yaramchuk, he's no right to really go for that. The ball's getting played away. Gilmore's already made the pass, and he comes right through the back of him. You're only going to get a yellow card if you do that.
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, it was in my mind before the game, if the referee's going to be a little bit leaning towards Ukraine, it would only be natural. Well, yellow card straight out there, so I don't think that's the case. He's going to referee it the way it should be.
Yaramchuk then books 0-0. McTominay goes back to Craig Gordon. Previous meeting between these two was October 2007. Alan Hutton actually played in that game, as did Craig Gordon. And Alan's alongside me, and he's still out there.
And what does that tell you then? Honestly,
that tells you I think every other player would probably be sitting up here as well. Craig's lasted a long time.
Recently voted the Scottish Writers Player of the Year for a record 3rd time. He's the Peter Pan of Scottish football.
I mean, 2007, it's ages ago. Like, when you sit and think about it.
I wouldn't worry. Pat referred to me as a young man at the start of the night. That'll do for me.
He's going to live on that for the next 2 years.
Just hope John Murray was listening. Cooper clears for Scotland. McGinn goes down under the challenge. Free kick to Scotland. Still in the sunshine here at Hampden Park. McGregor takes the free kick. Here is Gilmore in the centre circle now. Passes the ball out towards that far side, and that is for Aaron Hickey. Very talented 19-year-old, plays for Bologna, who's had a good season as well. Good 36 appearances and 5 goals as they finish 13th in Serie A. Extremely versatile.
Yeah, he usually plays in the left, though certainly did when he was at Hearts before. I watched one of his earliest games, and it was a cup game here against Celtic. He was 16, and he was utterly brilliant.
He's one of those players where he's comfortable on both sides. A left footer, but he can do a job on the right, and versatility is a good thing to have.
The modern day version of Steve Nicol, as this time there was a challenge coming in on Ruslan Malinovsky, who's gone down. The Yarmolenko saying to the Dutch referee, "You're going to take any action," but instead it'll just be a free kick as Malinovsky's back to his feet.
I think he's probably a little bit lucky just to get away with that. After obviously the previous yellow card, you'd have thought maybe the referee that went back in.
Well, the referee knew that one. The first one was a definite yellow. This one was a maybe. You don't want to make a rod for going back for the referee this early in the game, do you?
Zavani passes the ball to Karavayev. Back to Karavayev, early ball in from the right hand side into the penalty area, and Sihankov hits it first time on the half volley. Touch there from Gordon behind for a corner kick. What a chance that was.
I don't know if it was on target, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. But Craig Gordon's got his left hand up there. He's definitely changed the trajectory of it, but that's a great chance. Taken on a half volley. I mean, superb piece of skill there. Difficult to see if it was going to be on target, but
you're looking at it and you're thinking Hickey probably just does enough just to put him off ever so slightly, because if he's not there, that's on target.
8 minutes played, 0-0. In the sunshine on this right-hand side, Ukraine all in yellow have a corner kick that Makali has actually just noticed. There's a little bit of pushing in the penalty area. Yaramchuk and Hanley think he's having a word. McTominay's also involved from the Dutch referee. Yaramchuk, remember, already been booked. Ukraine take the corner to the right corner of the penalty area. Malinovsky then tries to whip it in, doesn't get the elevation, and it trickles along the ground, and it's easily picked up by Craig Gordon. Bearing in mind that the sun is still in Craig Gordon's eyes, that was a very good save, as Scotland now are attacking. And it's with Hickey on the right-hand side. He's made good ground. Deep inside the Ukraine half, and no, it'll be a goal kick. Still 0-0.
He's unlucky, but he's went a long way there, hasn't he? And he wants to come inside slightly there, but this shows his willingness right this early in the game to get to the opposition byline.
Great willingness, but I think that's the problem there when you have a left footer on the right, because if you do show him down the line of the defender, he's going to eventually run out of ideas. So that's the only problem that you do have.
Goal kick for Ukraine, still goalless here on 5 Live, headed forward by Malinovsky. Sehankov beaten to the ball by McTominay. McGregor stooping heads it forward. Dykes loses out in the aerial challenge to Ilya Zabani. He's 19 years of age. He joined Dynamo Kiev's academy at the age of 13. And already building a lot of experience, the teenager, as there again he deals with the threat of Dykes. And the ball then is played forward by Karavayev to Yaramchuk. Yarmolenko combines with Yaramchuk. Yarmolenko, now the ball just got stuck underneath his feet. Then he was just brought down. No, referee doesn't take any action. He was looking for a free kick. Gordon will clear the ball away. Flicked on. Quite frantic, isn't it?
I think that's what Scotland want. They want to play at a high tempo. It's getting a bit niggly out there. I mean, a couple have been, a little bit late. One or two players making more out of those challenges than is necessary, and it's a bit of a shame that, really, because it started at a good pace. This is kind of making it a little bit stop-start, isn't it?
Yeah, it spoils the flow a little bit, but Deno, you're right. I think Scotland, this is the good thing about them. They're trying to keep the tempo very high.
I've just seen that again. You could get a red for that. I hadn't realised how bad that was. He's come in from the back, and I've got VAR coming in here. That was a horrible tackle. He didn't get him as bad as he could have, but it's one of those ones straight into the back of his calf muscle. If you get a chance to see it again, it's a lot worse than you think.
He was booked as well, wasn't he, Malinovsky? So they've had 2 yellow cards in 11 minutes.
Well, by the way, minimum yellow for that. Minimum.
Scotland have a free kick. Cooper left-footed. Diagonal ball. Headed on by Dykes. Edge of the area. Just outside the D there for McGinn. McGinn tries to lay it back. Comes out to McGregor. McGregor plays it to Robertson. Left corner of the area. Robertson swings over the cross. Adams tried to get on the end of it. And it will go out for a goal kick.
That is what you expect from Andy Robertson. From those wide areas on the left-hand side, give him a yard, he will put it in a dangerous area for the likes of Dykes, Shea Adams to go and attack. That's what he needs to do all game.
I didn't think he had a yard there, though. I mean, if he's going closed down, there was very little space. He needs so little space to get a brilliant ball in.
That's because he's got big size 11s on. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He can just bend it round the defender's leg.
Hanley steps forward, wins the aerial duel in front of Yaramchuk, and now it's with McGregor.
Ian, you mentioned it just a few moments ago. This sort of frantic stuff suits Scotland. This is what Scotland want to do. If you get a team you're questioning whether they're going to be fit enough, they're match fit, you want a frantic game going at this sort of speed, and I think that's what Stevie Clark's asked these players, and that's what they're trying to do.
Well, here is Cooper just outside the penalty area for Scotland, to the backdrop of just a din inside Hampden Park. That bounced quite a lot off the chest of Aaron Hickey, and Scotland have been forced to go back with McTominay. Plays it forward back towards Hickey, trying to hold off the challenge from behind of Mikolenko, the Everton left back, trying to pin Scotland back deep inside their half, and it'll be a free kick to Scotland. Still 0-0.
There was real good pressure there from Ukraine. They're picking and choosing their moments. They're quite happy to sit back and just soak up the pressure, but when there's an opportunity to go and press, they are. As you see, Mikolenko's up tight on Hickey there and just nudges him in the back and he goes over. Good defending.
Going to be a Free kick for Scotland, hit flat downfield. Dykes trying to get on the end of it once more. Out towards that far side it goes, and it's going to be a Ukrainian throw. Notice Andrei Shevchenko, the former coach, is here at Hampden Park, and it's with there's a Frankie Boyle has said the Scottish players are struggling to adapt to the sunshine. He's posted that on social media. Shevchenko, who of course was here in charge of Ukraine when they beat Sweden in the Euros, with a goal right at the end of extra time before losing to England by 4-0, and that is when Alexander Petrikov, the 64-year-old, took charge. He's yet to lose, 1-2 and drawn 5 of his 7 games. He actually offered to join the Kyiv defensive forces, but he lacks military experience. But it just goes to show what they're willing to sacrifice for their country. 0-0, BBC Radio 5 Live. Yarmolenko's forward ball over the head of Yaramchuk. Hanley and McTominay are both there. They see it back toward Gordon. 40 minutes played.
They look quite calm at the back in Scotland, certainly McTominay there. Always question marks because a lot of people like to see him playing in midfield more, but for Scotland he does often calm things a bit down a bit when he's back there, and he's held the ball and played it out from the back a couple of times very well.
Flick on by Dykes, Adams. Zabani was getting a foot into the challenge, and instead of a free kick going in favour of Scotland, it's gone against Adams for use of the hand. Free kick to Ukraine. Quarter of an hour played.
I think the best thing for Scotland at this moment is you can push up the pitch high and squeeze the game, because they're not really going to run away from you in behind. They're not really looking for that. Tsiankov is probably the only one that's got that little bit of pace, but the other two up top aren't really going to get in behind.
I think as the game goes on, there's every chance that they'll do that, but at the moment Scotland just keep on trying to play that long ball to Dykes. By the way, it's working. He's won every header so far.
Here is McGregor to Gilmore. Robertson now on the left hand side. Malinowski comes across, charged down off his shins, out for a throw. Throw taken quickly by Robertson for McGinn, and again Ilya Sabani just marshalling that ball safely behind and out for a goal kick.
As you say there, Pat, you can see it there. I mean, look how quickly the ball boy gave Robertson the ball, and then McGinn was on his bike. He's getting in behind. They're trying to do everything sharp.
Yep, and that's the last thing that when this team, I mean, they were so tired at the end of that game we were talking about before against Sweden here. It was the tiredest I've just ever seen a team in my life, and I think that's what Stevie Clark wants to see with 60 or 70 minutes gone with this game.
Flower of Scotland rings around Hampden Park on BBC Radio 5 Live. Yarmolenko pops up into a central area. Tsiankov into Yaramchuk in the penalty area. Couldn't get a sight of goal. And Hickey clears for Scotland. Downward header from Matvienko. Mikolenko now on that far side, the left. Zinchenko to Stepanenko. Good sharp passing now. And Mikolenko to Yaramchuk, tries to turn, it might fall to Yarmolenko, it goes goalwards, might have been in an offside position, but it was smothered by Gordon, took a lot of the power off the ball, it was spinning slowly towards the goal line, and then Gordon made the save.
I don't think it's offside, and unlike the Champions League final, I think it was a ball played by a Scottish defender. We shall see it again when the ball was played in. By the way, that is a great step apart. He's in an offside position. I don't think it's...
He's onside.
He is, he's onside. It's exactly the same as Liverpool in the Champions League final. However, it was a pass back. Scotland got away with that, or should we say, that man Gordon saved them again.
He took a lot of the power off the ball, didn't he? So when it was going goalwards, it didn't have that forward momentum to carry it over the line. Scotland, meanwhile, are attacking. Robertson, left-hand side, still 0-0. Sliding challenge made by Zabani. Behind it goes for a corner kick.
But what Craig Gordon does is he's got such a big frame. He gets out quick, he spreads himself. So as an attacker looking at this big figure coming out of you, it's difficult to get it by him. And that's why he's been Player of the Year.
Yep.
A smothering save from Gordon, meaning that it's still 0-0. But now from a set piece, Scotland have a chance to try and cause Ukraine some problems. It's Robertson with the corner. It's an outswinger, and the header over the top from Hanley, out for a goal kick.
They are a tall team, aren't they, the Ukrainians? But I think Scotland believe they can do them in the air, not just in, played with Dykes up front. But from set pieces, yeah, Hanley's good and McTominay's good as well. But they've worked on that recently, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. They've got the set piece coaching at this moment in time to work on this sort of thing. But yeah, you're right, tall team, and when you've got delivery as good as we have at this moment in time, is always going to be good.
Danny Mackler, the Dutch referee, in his luminous orange referee's jersey, has given a free kick to Ukraine that Stepanenko will take short and square to Zinchenko. Back with the tall central defender Zabani. Zinchenko now takes over to Malinovsky, who plays his football for Atalanta in Serie A, spreads the ball out to Mykolenko, the left back. Matvienko stretching just outside his penalty area. Ukraine forced to go back. Buschan, the goalkeeper, gets it away. Karavayev too much underneath it, over his head, and it goes out of play for a Scotland throw on this near side. Are you both of the opinion, as was in the general consensus in the press room ahead of kickoff, we could go the whole hog tonight?
Yes. In short, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, most of the games I've been to recently has went the whole way, so
I'm the same. And on top of that, if you have a look at the amount of draws that Ukraine have got, since the new manager has come in, it wouldn't be a shock if it did go to extra time. I'm not saying it will do it, but I wouldn't be a shock.
McTominay looked for a free kick, it wasn't awarded. Meanwhile, Ukraine are now attacking. See, Hancock tries to thread it through. Yaramchuk is there. Gordon again, quickly off his goal line. Such alert goalkeeping.
We already know who the man of the match is likely to be at this point in time. Craig Gordon. I mean, that's 3 times already, less than 20 minutes in, that he has absolutely saved Scotland there. Scotland thought they should have got a free kick, but the referee's allowing a little bit of physicality in that midfield, and Scotland shouldn't complain about that, because that's a big part of their game. Corner taken short on the left-hand side. Ball then played back towards Zinchenko. Zinchenko with a good delivery in, headed away by Hanley. Comes out to Malinovsky. Karavayev now. Right-hand side. Yarmolenko in support. Here is the West Ham player. Dancing around the ball, right corner of the area, back heels it, Karavayev drills it in low, and then the effort from Yaramchuk. It was a little bit behind him, right-footed, couldn't direct it goalwards, off-target, goal kick, 0-0. Alan.
Yeah, again, it's another good move from Ukraine out on this right-hand side, and Yaramchuk is getting into those areas. He's the focal point of the attack. And just going back to the one before, Grant Hanley has to be aware of what's behind him. As if he get his feet in all, like muddled up, and he wasn't aware of what's going on behind him. He needs to switch on. That's 2 quick in succession there, opportunities on goal. Yeah, and on top of the one they had just before that, with a shot from distance there, from about 18 yards, and Craig put it over the crossbar. So you got to see Scotland have maybe had a half chance. Ukraine have had 3 chances.
Yeah, they have. Gordon has done exceptionally well already, but the better chances have fallen to Ukraine as we approach the midway point of this first half. Malinovsky's header, see Hancock, will be just blocked as it was easily seen back by Hanley to his goalkeeper. It was Aaron Hickey on that far side. As Gordon, now the sun is not causing him any problem. It's moved away out of his eye line for the 39-year-old goalkeeper for Scotland. Here is Malinovsky. Zinchenko making a run through the centre, passes the ball then to Yarmolenko, again into a central area, drifting in off that right hand side. See Hancock level with the area. Mykolenko provides the support. Stepanenko is also forward. Back it goes to Matvienko just outside the halfway line, the centre circle there for Ukraine, but keeping the ball. A lot of energy about this Ukraine side. 22 minutes played, still 0-0.
See, the only thing I'm sitting here watching, and I understand the ball up to Dykes and what the game plan is, and they're trying to play off him, but do that 4 or 5 times, try and get hold of the ball, but you're just skipping the midfield every single time, and it's coming back. And Ukraine have got talented players. They're getting on the ball.
Malinovsky's just given it away to Gilmour. Forward ball to Dykes. Yellow shirt trying to get back. Robertson joins the attack for Scotland near side the left. Challenge though from Yarmolenko. Out of play, it goes for a throw. Robertson takes it quickly, trying to keep that momentum going for Scotland. Gilmour with a cross, hangs in the air. Adams goes down under a challenge. Wag of the finger from referee Danny Mackler, and it will go out of play for a goal kick, 0-0.
I don't think any of us expected him to get much there, but one of the other things about it, I understand this plan, what you're talking about, Alan, getting the ball up to Dykes really early. But we're kind of missing the best of John McGinn there. We're not getting him at all. The knock-ons aren't landing him again. They aren't landing at Adams. But then again, only needs one of them to land at those players. We shall see if it will work.
We've got Pat Nevin and Alan Hutton with us here on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds tonight. 19 years of international football, combined between them, serving their country as Scotland with McGregor. Now to Robertson. Tries to get past Karavayev, who quickly confronted him, but Robertson has done well. He's got past another challenge. He tried to drill it in low, and then the block challenge came in from Stihankov, of all people, who's actually playing left-hand side of midfield, who pops up on the right-hand side of the penalty area to divert the ball behind for a corner kick.
Robertson does ever so well. He gets a little bit lucky, he gets the break of the ball, before he knows it, he's in the box. For once, I just think he's made the wrong decision.
On his right foot, maybe. Took it inside again.
Yeah, or you see Shea Adams just peeling off to the penalty box. He's got the ability to pick him out.
Corner kick to Scotland. Robertson to take it. Left-hand side, hangs in the penalty area. Stihankov has sliced his clearance, but has got it away from the penalty area. Potential break on now for Ukraine with Yaramchuk, but he runs into the figure of Cooper of Leeds United, and now it's with Robertson forward. Adams makes that run to the left-hand side of the penalty area. Back heels the ball to McGregor. McGregor with a cutback. McGinn hits it first time. Left-footed, always on the rise, over the top. Goal kick, still goalless.
Hard skill, innit? Hard skill. His bounces before him, hasn't it, Alan? And if he catches that, that's going to be a worldie. But great play against. We're beginning to see Robertson, aren't we?
Yeah, I tell you one thing. John McGinn has got the ability to strike that in the back of the net. He's really unlucky, just gets under it a little bit. But down this left-hand side, Robertson's really working well with whether it be McGregor or whoever comes across to support him.
Still no goals as yet here on 5 Live. Stepanenko. Karavayev decides to run forward, saw a little bit of space, darted into it, and then McGinn comes across and forces him back, and Ukraine now back towards Georgi Buschan, the goalkeeper. What a number of players who play back in Ukraine. Of course, the domestic campaign abandoned, but 16 of the 26-man squad based in Ukraine, and that's where they've been preparing for this match since May the 1st in Slovenia at a training camp. And then the overseas-based players, when their domestic seasons have finished, have slowly been adding to it for Alexander Petrikov, the 64-year-old coach. Malinovsky, of course, is one of those who plies his trade in Serie A. He had his heels clipped. The referee tried to play the advantage and then quite rightly brings it back for a free kick to Ukraine, 0-0.
Could see it a mile away, couldn't you? You just knew Joe McGinn was just going to try and clip his heels. I was hoping he wasn't, because there was an opportunity to get booked. Thankfully he didn't, but you could see it from here what he was thinking.
I don't think that was John's best moment, really. He got away with it, but he could have got himself a yellow card for a nonsensical tackle in a not very dangerous position.
Zinchenko on the halfway line. Back to Matvienko. Malinovsky wants it short, receives it just outside the centre circle, passes the ball forward. It was Stihankov who'd gone into that central area. Now it's with Zinchenko. Rolls the ball out towards that far side for Stepanenko. Mikolenko is on that left-hand side. The ball played forward. McTominay gets a foot into the challenge. Scotland have it, but they quickly come under pressure and they've lost it. And now it's with Yarmolenko, central area, 30 yards out from goal. Karavayev joins the attack. Yarmolenko, albeit off his weaker right foot, went for goal, right-footed, and it was a wayward effort. Off target, goal kick, 0-0.
There's going to need to be some special strike from there to beat Craig Gordon in the form he's in. But look, we know he's capable of long distance shots, but I think if, as a Scotland supporter, us watching here, you're quite happy with him on his right foot shooting from there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nicky Campbell on BBC Radio 5 Live during his phone-in. One of the topics was this unique situation that Scotland find themselves in, where the majority, not everybody in the world, but the majority will be hoping that Scotland fail at this hurdle. There will be so much goodwill behind Ukraine for the obvious reasons. Graham Souness, I notice,
I was going to say
got involved as well, didn't he, saying that he hopes Ukraine were to win?
I said there was 3,500 Ukrainian fans in here. 3,501. That's in Graham Souness earlier on. He's definitely here.
Ball played forward for Ukraine, and they get a throw right down by the corner flag over on that far side as they play from left to right. 27 minutes played.
One thing that's underlining as well, this is a good game of football.
It is.
So far, lively. There's so much at stake, obviously. World Cup competition, qualifications, and it's a really good game though.
Zinchenko tried to scoop the ball into the penalty area of the run of Stihankov. Blocked by Scotland's defence. Dykes now finds Adams over the halfway line. Dykes running through the middle. Adams comes into a central area, Yarmolenko running back. That's one thing I've noticed about the Ukraine players. Yarmolenko, Sihankov, they are tracking back, they are working so hard off the ball.
They are, and they have to. I mean, they really do have to. I mean, Scotland are going to come at them quickly, and you need to fill those gaps, you need to fill those spaces, and up until now they've done really well in doing that.
By the way, Yarmolenko doesn't want to do it though. It's the last thing he wants to be doing.
He's not happy, is he?
No, it's not his kind of game, and of course he'll do it and he'll give everything, but if he's asked to do that and do the hard miles going backwards, he will suffer later on.
He's drifted more into a central area though, hasn't he? Started out on the right, and at the minute he's playing more as a 10 behind Yaramchuk. Gives Karovayev a bit of space to run into, but also a problem if Robertson wants to attack the Ukrainian right back. Here is Yarmolenko in the centre circle, and tries to spread the ball with the outside of his left foot to Sihankov, who couldn't keep the ball in play, and it's a Scotland throw.
I think as well, as a defender, when your direct opponent moves to a different position, it makes you think, should I be going with him? Do I need to pass him on? There's different things happening round about you, so you always have to be aware of what's going on.
That's why Scotland didn't close down the last time the goalkeeper had the ball. They were supposed to close down, but Robertson didn't want to move because he was worried about Yarmolenko.
Here is Robertson, the Scotland captain, left-footed diagonal ball, looking for McGinn to make that run through the midfield. Matvienko's header is going to fall to the feet of Hickey, who delivers the cross, and it's caught by the Ukrainian goalkeeper, all in green, Buschan, who then rolls the ball out to Karovayev on this near side. We've got 15 minutes to go to half-time on BBC Radio 5 Live, and it is still 0-0. As Malinovsky to Zinchenko, who waits back inside to Stepanenko. Mikolenko, of course, you'd have remembered those touching scenes when he led Everton out for that FA Cup tie against Boreham Wood and was overcome with emotion at Goodison Park. Remember Yaramchuk when he came on as a substitute for Benfica against Vitória Guimarães back in February. He too broke down, but these Ukrainian players are extremely focused as they attack once more, and it's on that left-hand side. And it's with Zinchenko, and tried to pull it back to Yarmolenko, but it was a good block by the legs of McTominay behind for a corner kick for Ukraine.
It's so easy. That's probably the worrying thing sitting here watching that. It was, 2 passes, and then before you know it, you're at byline for a cross. I think that's the worry. Ukraine have got talented football players at the top end of the pitch, and if they move the ball quickly like that, they're going to get into dangerous areas.
And Yarmolenko spotted where the space is, and the space is between the 3 centre-backs and the 2 midfielders for Scotland, and he's just ghosting in there, getting good space.
Corner kick for Ukraine. Zinchenko to take it, headed out by Adams, near side of the 6-yard box, goes back out towards the Ukrainian left. Mikolenko has his cross charge down. Matvienko, every Ukrainian player was in the Scotland half, and they remain so, as Karovayev waits, puts his foot on the ball, goes inside to Malinovsky, forward of the centre circle, strokes the ball out towards Zinchenko on that left-hand side. Mikolenko makes the run infield, now out towards that left-hand side. It's a deep cross, drops to the edge of the area, and there is McGregor for Scotland, and then cleared long by McGinn. Up towards Shea Adams, and it will be a Ukraine throw on the halfway line. Ukraine, though, are showing a lot of ambition.
Yeah, they're better side. They are the better side just now. Certainly technically on the ball. When they hold it, they look more dangerous when they play through the midfield there. And they're cleverer than Scotland have been just now, and it's a wee bit of a surprise, and I think it comes down to the system we're playing just now. The 2 up front, it's giving a wee advantage in the midfield.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what my point earlier on is. With a long ball, you're skipping the midfield out. Sometimes you have to go to feet. You need to get on the ball and make passes to open up a run in behind, but Scotland are just looking for that quick ball all the time.
I suspect Stevie Clark's going to change it to a 5-3-2 quite soon. And you get McGinn to get a little bit further back, around the other 2 midfielders there, and break from that deep area. He's been much further up the field up until now. I think they need more bodies in that midfield.
Malinovsky, he's gone long. Yarmolenko has made the run. Yarmolenko loves the goalkeeper, and Yarmolenko has scored. What a wonderful finish from Andrei Yarmolenko, who may well have scored one of the most important goals of his life, because Ukraine have taken the lead just past the half hour. What a composed finish. It's Scotland 0, Ukraine 1. And there are wild celebrations in the Ukrainian end away towards our left-hand side. What a finish that was.
It was. I mean, his run, his movement looked as if it was perfect. They will check it, but it looked absolutely perfect for me. He's given a little bit of a bend. I'm sure he's onside there. He's left, I think it's by Robertson there. Just let him run on behind there. And when he's 1-on-1, a player of that quality there, you don't expect him to miss it. Nothing that Craig Gordon could do. But Yarmolenko's intelligence, we were talking about before, he goes and he finds the space when he knows where the space is. We talked about it 2 minutes ago. He's just used it there.
It's the touch and the awareness is what's round about him. He's got a second to think about that. Craig Gordon's closing down the angles, the defenders are getting back, and he's got the intelligence just to lift it up and over. Unbelievable finish.
And the ball as well from Malinowski.
Outstanding.
But if you're Robertson just now, you're thinking, why didn't I go with him? Because he's not going to run away with you if you go with him.
Ukraine through Yarmolenko on his 107th appearance for his country. He's just scored his 45th goal, and it will mean so much for him. Ukraine, the better side, deservedly leading, but what a finish it was from Yarmolenko.
But it just shows you, earlier on we were talking about he's not going to run away with you. But see, when you get somebody with the intelligence and the understanding of space and movement, that's what happens.
I still think Robertson should have gone with him. Robertson's watched him, he's inside him, and it's kind of his man.
Pat, as a full-back, that's what you're told. Go with your runner if you're unsure. Yeah. Match the runner, and he never done that.
Scotland behind. Ukraine leading in this first half with just over 10 minutes to go to half-time under the clear blue skies in Glasgow. Here is Gilmour picking up that loose ball now, almost to a walking pace. McGregor. Back it goes to Hanley. Wales, remember, await the winners on Sunday. You'll hear that live on 5 Live in Cardiff on Sunday afternoon. Wales, who incidentally lost to Poland by 2-1 in the UEFA Nations League tonight. That, of course, begins. Tomorrow night we'll have Northern Ireland, Greece for you. And on Saturday, Hungary, England, also in the Nations League live commentary, before we concentrate on Wales against the winners of this one to see who will eventually go through to compete against England, the United States and Iran in the World Cup in Qatar. Ukraine. They said that their motivation was to win, to put smiles on the faces of the people back home, and at the moment they are doing just that. You think as well, Tom English of BBC Scotland wrote an excellent article on the BBC Sport website. 7 million people forced into exile, significantly more than the entire population of Scotland. It puts it into perspective. So wherever they are, wherever they've been displaced, they'll be watching all across Europe, and they'll be hoping that Ukraine can clear this hurdle to then take on Wales in Cardiff. But there is a long, long way to go in this contest. But it's Ukraine who lead. McTominay for Scotland, out towards Hickey on that far side.
Hickey's having a tough time out there, isn't he? Because he's getting shoved backwards. The left foot's becoming more obvious now, isn't it? He doesn't want to go on his right. He ends up going backwards. So we're getting very little going down the right-hand side for Scotland. So all the expectation is there's 2 moves Scotland have got. This man Robertson or the long ball. Robertson
away from Yarmolenko, away then from Karavayev. And Malinowski actually came across, made the challenge, and straight away put his hands in the air. Remember that Malinowski and Yaramchuk both booked inside the opening 11 minutes. They need to keep their focus, they need to keep their discipline as Ukraine lead by 1-0. And Scotland are the ones who are going to have to come from behind.
That's why you always kind of second guess, don't you? Probably as a manager as well. He's obviously made the choice to put Aaron Hickey in, and he's had a great season, but you've got 2 natural fullbacks that are there on the bench, right hand side, that could give you something different going down there.
Anthony Ralston of Celtic didn't even make the matchday squad of 23. Here is Robertson to Adams with his back to goal, holds it up, lays it out back behind him to Gilmour, passes the ball now to Hickey, right hand side. Hickey floats in the cross into the penalty area, gathered in easily by the goalkeeper Buschan, and you can hear the crowd now just starting to get a little bit frustrated here at Hampden.
See, I know how it feels to be a fullback and play on the opposite side, because I've had to do it as well, and you're expected when you get into a position like that to deliver a cross on the money, and when you're cutting back in on your strong favoured foot or you're weak and it's just kind of floated in, you're not helping anyone.
Ukrainian voices you can hear at Hampden Park. That block of yellow and blue with the flags flying as their side has a slender lead with 7 minutes to go to half-time. Zabani along the ground, short diagonal ball. Stepanenko back to Zabani. Matvienko gets it back from Stepanenko once again. He'll just sit there in front of that back four for Ukraine. Little flick header on, looking for Sihankov. That was Mikolenko who flicked the ball on the left back. He's so high up the pitch on that left-hand side. Ukraine get a throw, they take it quickly to Zinchenko.
And Scotland's got real problems here. I mean, they're perfectly capable of losing another goal before half-time. If that's the case, I mean, that's just an incredible mountain to climb from there, because this Ukrainian side, they're technically good. They could suck up a lot of pressure.
The ball was played up towards Yaramchuk, just got in front there of, it was Hanley. It was a vital touch. Scotland now pass the ball out towards Hickey, just about keeps the ball in play with his left foot on that right-hand side. He stumbled as he did so. The crowd are urging the navy blue shirts of Scotland to go on as they play from right to left as we look here on the halfway line at Hampden Park. And Gilmour loses out to Malinovsky in the midfield. Karavayev just stands still back towards Zabani. And now it's Malinovsky again, able to take the ball into feet, to turn, passes the ball forward to Zinchenko. Ukraine again are on the attack. The weighted ball cut out by Hanley, looking for that run of Yaramchuk to try and pierce that Scottish defence. Ball played forward by McTominay to Robertson over the halfway line. Scotland looking for an equaliser. 5 minutes to go to half-time. McGregor pressures on Scotland. McGregor runs with the ball out towards Hickey. Far side to right, waits, still, everybody back behind the ball in yellow by Yaramchuk. Now it's with Cooper, outside the centre circle, chips the ball in the air to Robertson. First touch to try and take it on the inside of Karavayev, overhits it, Zabani and Karavayev, and charged down by Dykes, behind it goes for a goal kick.
I just think the worrying thing for Scotland at this moment in time is when Ukraine beat that initial press from the midfield, they're in. Yeah, there's an opportunity there. Whether it be Mikolenko down the left-hand side with a ball in the box or whatever, it's so easy for them to break through them.
They're smelling the position all the time. It's behind Gilmour and McGregor. When they're passed by, and they're outnumbered in there, when they're passed by, there is a massive gap between them and the centre-backs. And that's where clever players will go. Zinchenko likes to go in there. Yarmolenko likes to go in there.
It's Yarmolenko's goal that is the difference between the two. 4 minutes to go to the break. Malinovsky. There'll be a Scotland throw. Robertson wants to take it quickly. Didn't really have many options, not much movement. In the end, he had to go back to Cooper, to Gordon, who before Yarmolenko with a very, very tidy finish. Gordon had made 3 important saves for Scotland. Hickey coming under pressure. McGregor clears up towards the halfway line. Adams getting a nudge from behind by Matvienko. Free kick to Scotland just inside their half on the right-hand side. Matvienko might just get a talking to from the referee.
I think Scotland just need a little bit of possession. They just need to get their foot on the ball and just hold on to it just for a few passes.
In open play, Scotland have created very little. I'm thinking of the best opportunity was from the set piece where Hanley's headed over.
And I'm not surprised by that. I mean, they went, route one right from the start. That's actually not worked. Won a few headers on, but that hasn't actually worked. Scotland probably have to try something different, but what do? Do you take one of the centre forwards off? Well, you're 1-0 down. And then have a look at that bench. How many game changes have you got from there? Stevie Clark's got a lot of thinking to do at half-time if they don't score before then.
Hickey's forward on the right-hand side, passes the ball into the penalty area for McGinn with his back to goal, back to Hickey, didn't cross it first time. Instead he goes to McGregor, who shoots low. Might break here to McGinn, far side, excellent sliding challenge by Matvienko. No wonder that Alexander Petrikov, the coach down below, applauds with his hands above his head. He had to get that challenge right, and he did just that.
It was a great challenge. Last ditch defensive, great play. I thought John McGinn was just going to lift it to the back post. I noticed on his right, but unlucky.
Robertson for Scotland. Can they equalise before the break? 2.5 minutes to go until half-time here on 5 Live. Hanley outside the centre circle to McTominay over the halfway line, passes the ball forward. Dykes, heavy touch over the head of Adams, Matvienko leaves it. Adams might well have just caught the goalkeeper. He was complaining to the referee, but the referee just says play on.
I think there's a great deal in that, though. He has to go for that ball. It's still bouncing just beside the goalkeeper's hands. I don't think he's injured at all. But I mean, Scotland, at this point in time, they've got to hold the ball a little bit. It's just so hard to do that when you've been outnumbered in the outfield, in the midfield, and getting outplayed. And at the moment, I honestly just feel the system hasn't worked. You know, it was brave to go with two strikers.
Malinowski charging through, running through from midfield and shoots on the run. He must have run a good 15 yards there, and in the end it was a left-footed shot that was dragged well wide, but you could hear the concern from the Scottish supporters, the fact that he was able to carry the ball so far.
No, Malinowski's just picked up the ball in the Scotland half, and he's just ran between the full midfield. As soon as he gets away from McGregor, like we're talking about before, the gap is so big between the midfield and the defence that he's just got free space to run into. Luckily enough, he drags his shot to the left-hand side, but the right, but Scotland need to do better in that midfield area.
Free kick goes in favour of Ukraine, and Dykes is shown a yellow card.
I think the way Dykes plays, it's not really a shock, is it? And actually, the way he's been asked to play tonight, you know, the all action, challenging for every ball, you know, the arms are up there, maybe an elbow here and there. He's complaining that he didn't feel there was a great deal in that. But I don't think there's any complaint there, though. That's a yellow card.
Caught Stepanenko with a raised arm at the side of the face. Stepanenko is still down. Stepanenko, who, I mean, they've all got their tales to tell, but the goalkeeper Bushchan has been sleeping in an underground station. Sidorchuk slept in his car with his kids in an underground car park with his pregnant wife sleeping on the floor. And Stepanenko was forced to move his wife and his 3 children to a basement shelter in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. And when you're asked to try and put this football match into context, that's what they're all having to deal with at the back of their minds, and the worry of their loved ones back home.
I mean, it's really unbelievable to think that they've had to go through that. I mean, it's really shocking for you to say the words and me to kind of comprehend it, but to be able to put that to one side and put on this type of performance from each and every one of them is quite incredible.
Certainly is. And they could be heading for a playoff final against Wales in Cardiff on Sunday. They are, as it stands. We're into 1 minute of additional time, and it's Ukraine who lead by a 1-0. Malinowski got the assist. He passes the ball to the man who finished it, Yarmolenko. Here he is, running into the centre circle, passing the ball, then back. Stepanenko as the drops in between the 2 central defenders. The fullbacks push on, all in yellow, playing from left to right, leading by a 0-0. And then Sihankov caught by McTominay. Ball runs out of play, out for a throw it goes. I don't think anybody can have any complaints about the scoreline.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, well, no, I disagree with that. I think the Ukrainians could complain they could have been 2-0 up, because they have had very, very good chances. They've been the better team, and as the half has gone, they've just got further and further ahead of Scotland, and Scotland can go in and think, thank goodness it's only one, and see if they can do anything to change it at half time.
Yeah, I think Steve Clark will be happy for the half time whistle to go, so he can get the boys in there and have a chat about it.
This is Malinowski. He was just running loose, and it was a very good block challenge coming in from Cooper. Malinowski's actually stayed down, but you could tell he only had one thing on his mind, and that was to hit it. But that is the half-time whistle. A few boos there as well from the Scotland support, and it is Yarmolenko's goal that separates the two after 33 minutes. It was a wonderful lob finish from Malinowski's long forward ball. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
I mean, I thought Scotland, right from the first whistle, had the right idea. Get the game moving quickly, everything fast, throw-ins, the works, put them under pressure, but they just faded a little bit and they lost control in the midfield. The gaps were too big, and when you've got intelligent players that, like the Ukrainians do have, they're going to get into those areas and make things happen. Scotland didn't really understand how to deal with it. They still haven't dealt with it, and the problem is, what a wonderful goal. Little bit of class, and then that's what happens. You get punished off these teams.
You know, theoretically, they should be tired, the Ukrainian players. They should be physically and mentally gone. But you look at the way it's going just now, it doesn't look it. And it just doesn't always work that way in football. I sat right here where we're sitting just now and watched Rangers play in the cup final the other day, thinking they'll fall apart in extra time late in the game because they'd just played in Seville in 30 odd 36 37 degree heat. They didn't, they got stronger. Sometimes it doesn't work, so you need to be ready to adapt. Scotland need to adapt now, or they're going out, and they need to adapt quickly.
Half time at Hampden Park. It's Scotland 0, Ukraine 1. Emma.
Yeah, so Scotland 45 minutes away from their campaign to Qatar coming to a close. They do trail by a goal to nil, as Ian mentioned there, thanks to that lob from Yarmolenko just after the half-hour mark in that first half. And Scotland have real problems here, Pat. You mentioned there they need to adapt. What does that look like in the second half?
There's lots of things to take into account. You think, oh well, be a wee bit more offensive. Well, you're going to leave gaps at the back, and they've already shown that they can break through Scotland's back line there. They've got a problem between the midfield and the defence. So what do? You ask someone to sit back there a little bit further back. Well, yeah, that's fine, but you need to be attacking. Scotland have actually made very, very few clear-cut opportunities in that first half. Now you've got a big centre forward up there in Lyndon Dykes. It went early, the ball's lumped up to him all the time, and he's winning all the headers, and you're thinking, great. But they've got nothing out of it. Not a thing, not a sausage, not a half chance out of that ploy. And it's suddenly at international level can start to look a little bit simplistic. And in the fact that Dykes now has been booked already, so his style is going to have to be affected, and he can't be so all-action Braveheart about the way he goes about his business. It may well be, amazingly enough, that he may have to think of taking Dykes off at some point. And that's easy to say, but on top of that, you look at the bench, and there's not really anyone to replace him with, so tough times.
Yeah, plenty of you getting in touch at 5 Live Sport on Twitter. Seba said that touch and finish from Yarmolenko is absolute class, fantastic and well deserved. And Alan Hutton, I think, is, even as a Scotsman, you can probably agree with that. Some scenes in that away end, seeing all those Ukrainian fans cheering with smiles on their faces.
Yeah, no, for me to sit here as a Scotland fan, supporter, everything, it was just a wonderful moment in time to witness. I mean, everything that's going on, the fans going crazy. I mean, Yarmolenko, the touch and finish was just exquisite, pure class. And we know he's capable of that. We've seen it in the past, so it doesn't surprise us, but outstanding finish. Scotland have got a real problem in this second half. They need to come up with something and fast, or it's going to slip away.
Again, online, Paul's been getting in touch. Scotland are playing a centre midfield at centre half and a left back at right midfield. Alan, you mentioned a few times in commentary, the midfield area is one that you really need to work on in that second half, which is coming up. At the moment, Scotland are trailing Ukraine by a goal to nil. We're going to be back with our team at Hampden for the second 45 in not too long. That's Ian Dennis, Pat Nevin and Alan Hutton. But elsewhere tonight at Wembley, Argentina are 1-0 up over Italy in a match that sees the Euros holders take on the Copa America winners. We're going to be at Lords as well to look ahead to England's first test of the summer shortly. But now it is time for the latest BBC News with Lisa McCormack.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Emma. We start with some breaking news in the past 10 minutes or so. And Johnny Depp's won his multi-million-pound lawsuit against his ex-wife, Amber Heard, after a jury ruled that her 2018 article in the Washington Post was defamatory. He was suing his ex-wife over that article in which she said she was a victim of domestic abuse. In other news this evening, the Department for Transport says a meeting with aviation bosses about this week's disruption at airports was productive. The Transport Secretary, Grant Shapps, is urging airlines to provide compensation quickly if they can't run services properly. There were more than 150 cancellations today, affecting thousands of people, including Steve Butcher and his wife.
The email come through at 2 o'clock this morning, which is ruining people's fun, enjoyment and chance to get away. I mean, my other half, she's been working so hard for a long time. And this morning, she was in tears.
2 teenagers have been found guilty of murdering an 18-year-old man in Tyne and Wear last October. Jack Woodley was walking home from a fun fair when he was attacked. He wasn't known to the gang, who were aged between 14 and 18. The French Interior Ministers apologised for the disproportionate use of tear gas used at the Champions League final. Gerald Darmanin says that 2 cases have been referred to the police watchdog for investigation and that fans will soon be able to file complaints in their home countries if they believe they were a victim of crime. And one of Russia's biggest rock bands, DDT, has had its long-anticipated gig in Moscow cancelled at short notice. Its frontman, Yuri Shevchuk, got into trouble last month after speaking out against Russia's war in Ukraine.
5 Live Sport
with Emma Saunders.
So second half commentary from Hampden Park is on the way. Scotland a goal down to Ukraine in the World Cup playoff semi-final. To Lords in a moment or two, but first we are going to head to Roland Garros. Tennis correspondent Russell Fuller is watching the evening session of the French Open where Casper Ruud is taking on Holger Rune for a place in the men's semi-finals, Russell.
Very early stages, but a very entertaining start too, with Casper Ruud, who is the 8th seed, the first Norwegian Grand Slam men's quarter-finalist, against Holger Rune, who only turned 19 at the end of April, is the world number 40 and is the first Danish man in a Grand Slam quarter-final for 55 years. So it's quite niche, it's quite novel. Rune is the man who likes to play a lot of shots, especially the drop shot. Ruud, the traditional clay courser who likes to stay behind the baseline. And after Ruud held serve easily in the opening game of the match, a very competitive second game here. And currently it's breakpoint Ruud to get off to a flying start in this quarter-final.
Thank you very much to Russell there, bringing us an update on the tennis. Cricket next. We can look ahead to England's first test match of the summer in just a moment. But first, Kevin Howes is at Old Trafford this evening and can update us on the Charlotte Edwards Cup match between Thunder and the Southern Vipers.
Plenty of internationals on show. The Thunder, though, managed just 94 for 6 from their 20 overs. England's Sophie Eccleston, 28 off 32. The all-rounder Charlie Dean, 3 for 16 for the Vipers. In the chase, the Vipers needing 95 for 12 for no wicket after 2 overs. Among some of the other games in the men's Vitality Blast at Bristol, Gloucestershire's David Payne responded to the England call-up in the one-day squad with 4 for 15 versus Kent. Kent 114 all-out, Gloucestershire 44 for 3 after 7 overs. Commentary on all these matches, plus others as well, over on the BBC Sports website and app.
So, as we mentioned, the first test match of the summer starts tomorrow. England's cricketers take on New Zealand, hoping for a fresh start under an entirely new leadership group. Henry Moran has been amongst the build-up all week at the home of cricket.
Well, here at Lords, the stage is set for a new dawn for England's men's test side. The pitch has been carefully tended to by the ground staff. The various food stalls have been wheeled into the venue, and the famous old pavilion's white benches are cleaned and freshly painted. And it's here tomorrow that a new England will emerge, with Ben Stokes as captain, Brendan McCullum as coach, and the opportunity to start righting a number of wrongs from a disastrous winter. Before training, new captain Stokes was greeted by a packed media conference, and he spoke to our cricket correspondent, Jonathan Agnew.
How's this last week been since Brendan McCullum was joined the squad and so on? Have you sensed a bit of an uplift?
I mean, look, we've had 3 days of training, and obviously it was the first opportunity that everybody got to meet Brendan face to face. We've obviously had a chance to, speak over the internet on Zoom and stuff like that. But no, it's been a really, really good 3 days of training. You can sense the excitement around, and it is always the case. The first test match of the summer, there is always that buzz and energy around, and obviously being at Lords and stuff like that. So, yeah, no, it's been really good.
How's it going to work, the relationship? I remember sitting in this room when Nasser Hussain and Duncan Fletcher met each other for the first time, and they became a really good partnership. Actually, in other words, they joined at the same time. Often you get a coach who's been there and the captain joins, or vice versa. You're starting afresh, the two of you. How is that relationship going to work, seniority-wise, or that sort of thing? No,
I don't think. I think the most important thing is just to be, just straight with each other. I guess there's no. I always see that any conversation is always a conversation. It's never an argument or anything like that, because at the end of the day, when you're discussing things about the English Test team, it's always, if it's about an individual, it's always about what's best for them. If it's about the team, it's always about what's best for the team. So I think it's just being honest with each other in everything that we do, and we're very, very similar characters, I think, in the way that we've played the game, especially. And so I'm really looking forward to building that relationship with Brendan. But it's got off to a great start. We're both on the same page about pretty much everything so far. It's only been 3 days, but yeah, no, it's been great.
Did you agree with that whole Red Bull reset concept? I mean, Anderson and Brawl being left behind and so on. I mean, did you actually believe in that?
Look, in that role back then, when I didn't get the chance to sort of, be in the rooms and stuff like that. Obviously I backed Joe 100% in every decision that was made under his captaincy, and I backed that at the time. But obviously now with me being the captain, I thought it was only right that to bring them back, because not only are they just two of England's greatest bowlers, they're two of the best bowlers in the world still. And I want the best team out there to give me the best chance of winning games for England, and that's what everybody else wants. So yes, it would have been highly illogical of me to not bring them back into the team.
Well, that was Ben Stokes speaking to Jonathan Agnew. And Aggers, it was an interesting interview that. He seemed in quite confident mood, bullish mood.
Yeah, and it's always the way, isn't it? A new captain comes in. And yeah, I thought he was very impressive, actually. He's quite honest about a number of things. I thought his observations about the red ball reset, Anderson and Broad. But he hasn't captained a game yet. And it is a roller coaster, up and down, win, lose, or whatever it may be. And that obviously is part of the challenge for a captain. I just don't think we should be too unrealistic about expectations. I was there in Grenada. I saw the team fall apart in that game, lose the series, and it really did feel absolutely rock bottom. And that was the last game that England played, and 7 of those players are playing in this match. Obviously, Broad and Anderson are back, and there are a couple of other little changes here and there. But that's still a large number of players who lost dramatically in that Test match who will be turning out again at Lord's. So, it feels positive. Certainly, Stokes and McCullum have sounded positive, but it's a question of how, particularly England bat under some pressure against a very good New Zealand attack, that really will be the acid test of it all.
You've been coming here for 31 years as the BBC cricket correspondent, Aggers. Do you feel a real buzz of excitement this year?
I think people want to be. I think the fact that it's not sold out is an accurate reflection of what people think and about the prices that people are charging to. But Lord's is always full, and that's, if that is a warning sign to the ECB, then they better heed it. I think Ben Stokes himself said it needs looking at. And he's right. But yes, I do feel, because they are positive characters, and you want them to do well. The proof, I'm afraid, is going to be in the pudding.
Well, new captain, new coach, same old England. We'll find out tomorrow, 10:25 on 5 Sports Extra. You will not miss a ball all summer with Test Match Special.
Well, thanks to Henry and Jonathan. There's some real excitement and anticipation around Lord's ahead of tomorrow's Test match. Tonight, though, our focus on Scotland and Ukraine at Hampden. Scotland have 45 minutes to find a way back and keep their World Cup hopes alive. They trailed Ukraine by 1-0. Thanks to a pretty stunning first half lob from Andrei Yarmolenko. Focused in his finish, Alan Hutton, and the celebrations as well, perhaps less emotional than we thought given the circumstances. And we have seen more of an outburst there in the Premier League when he scored and really broken down. But so far, it's not just him. This Ukrainian side, they're really keeping their composure.
Yeah, I think that's the word, composure. They know there's a huge 45 minutes, possibly longer, and they don't want to kind of get above that station at this moment in time. So they're keeping their within. They know they've played well, but they need to come out and do it again. So their game plan's working, everything's going right for them. They had good opportunities within that first 45 minutes. They'll be looking for the exact same in the second half.
Is there any sign of any changes there, Pat Nevin?
Well, not from the Ukrainians, surprise, but I can't see Scotland starting the same 11 start of the second half. We'll wait to see if they change it. Change I was expecting is maybe Dykes not to come out again, but we shall see. And actually, I guessed that one right. I don't think Dykes is coming out for the second half. Christie will come on, and I think they'll put Adams up front. Christie will play behind with John McGinn, and I think Ian Dennis will confirm. I suggested that at half-time.
You did indeed, Pat. You called it.
All right, well, with that, I will hand you back to our commentary team for a massive second 45 at Hampden Park. Scotland currently trailing Ukraine by 1-0. And here to take you through the twists and turns of this second half, Alan Hutton, Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Emma. 14 games without a goal now for club and country for Lyndon Dykes of Queen's Park Rangers. And now, stepping onto the pitch is Ryan Christie to replace him. He, of course, scored the winner against Serbia in Belgrade that eventually forced extra time and penalties for that successful Euro campaign. So Ukraine are unchanged. Scotland have made just that one alteration. We're back underway with Ukraine leading by 1-0 in all yellow, playing from right to left as we look, with Bushchan in goal, a back four of Karavayev, Zabani, Matvienko and Mikolenko, a midfield of Yarmolenko, Malinovsky, Stepanenko, Zinchenko and Sihankov, and Yaramchuk is the lone striker. As for Scotland, they now line up with Craig Gordon away towards our left-hand side, a back three of McTominay, Hanley and Cooper. Scotland are on the attack, but the referee has spotted an infringement and the attack is stopped, and it'll be a free kick to Ukraine. So McTominay, Hanley and Cooper are the back three. Robertson and Hickey are the wing backs. Hickey on the right hand side, Robertson on the left. McGinn, Gilmour and McGregor in the centre of midfield, and now Christie and Shea Adams are the two up front for Scotland, who, as we look here on the halfway line, are playing from left to right in their all navy, as still we have clear blue skies and still the sun is yet to set away towards our left hand side for what is a huge 45 minutes.
It's for both teams, obviously. Ukrainians have played well, as you said. They want to do exactly the same thing, but I've watched Scotland recently and they didn't used to be able to change it massively, but they've, under Stevie Clark, quite a few games they've lifted it, changed the system, changed the style, changed the methodology, like much more passing game in the second half. I think that's what they need to do here.
Ball goes back, and Zavani, the central defender, the teenager, to his goalkeeper Bushchan. Stepanenko along the ground. Zinchenko turns away from Gilmour, playing in his midfield role for his country, to Malinovsky, as the Scottish support, with another rousing rendition of Flower of Scotland, try to play their part. The Tartan Army, so important to the Scottish cause, Alan Hutton.
Yeah, it certainly has, and it has been that way forever. Then obviously your day, Pat, my day, and they'll always back them, but they're going to need them in this 45 minutes.
But it's Ukraine who are attacking, and Sihankov. Mikolenko joins the attack. Back to Zinchenko, just drags the ball with him. Now it's with Stepanenko. They were the better side in the first half. Ball played through to Yaramchuk. Holds off the challenge of Hanley. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Yaramchuk plays it back now to Sihankov. Inside to Zinchenko. And Zinchenko, now Sihankov, Ukraine. Still seeing a lot of the ball. It's with Yarmolenko. His goal still the difference between the two. Yarmolenko runs forward, tries to get away from the attentions of McGregor, Scotland's player of the year, the Celtic captain, leading Celtic back towards the title. And that was Ukraine coming forward now. Zabani gets the ball out towards Yarmolenko on that right hand side. Yarmolenko can't get it onto his left foot, instead he'll play it back to Karavayev with a cross into the penalty area, and Yaramchuk with a downward header, and Ukraine have increased their lead. Yaramchuk hurdles the advertising hoardings and celebrates in front of the delirious Ukraine support. But Ukraine have got a second goal. They have a vital cushion, and what a story this is for Ukraine. What an achievement it could be. It's Scotland 0, Ukraine 2. What a start to the second half.
Scotland didn't get a kick of the ball just about since the start of this second half. The amount of time that Ukraine kept the ball there, but then worked it into a good position, and the ease in which they got it onto the byline. But when that ball was crossed, they had 5 players in the box. What bravery when you're 1 goal up to get that many players in open play into the box.
And see, the thing with that is, I mean, we're looking at Yarmolenko at the back post against Aaron Hickey. He's tried to get a little drag on him, and then he's never going to out jump him, and he just, good header down low past Gordon, side net, and he's never going to save that.
Yaramchuk, the 26-year-old who plays his football in Benfica, with his 13th goal for his country. He'd scored 3 and had 1 assist in the World Cup qualifying campaign, but it's his downward header, and all of a sudden the task for Scotland now has got so much harder.
So much harder. I mean, talk about a mountain to climb. I would say to Pat just at half time, can I see Scotland scoring 2 goals at this moment in time? The question, because They have to score at least 2 now.
Yeah, my answer at the time was they only need to score 1, but sadly that is no longer the case. And it's hard to see it, but I suppose it is the chase. Now, there's nothing to lose for Scotland. Problem is, they've not been able to get on the ball for the last 20 minutes of the first half. The start of the second half, they're chasing shadows again.
Scotland 0, Ukraine 2. And it is the Ukrainian support, the 3,000 of them away towards our left-hand side, who are lifting and waving their flags as they pick up another ball here with Zinchenko to Yarmolenko. Challenge comes in from Cooper, only partially holds off Yarmolenko. Plays the ball out towards Karavayev, who supplied the cross. Back it goes. And watching on Alexander Petrikov, the 64-year-old, who coached Ukraine to under-20 World Cup glory in 2019. He's got a number of that squad in this party that has travelled. Potentially they could be playing 5 games in 13 days. Well, they'll forget the Nations League. It's all about qualification for the World Cup. Potentially 2 games. Scotland and Wales, that was their objective, and they lead 2-0. Here is Yarmolenko. Good forward. Yarmolenko with a shot. And a very good save from Gordon. Smartly down towards his left-hand side. It was low, it was right-footed, it was fierce.
Great feet from Yarmolenko there. He just creates that half yard that he needs, gets the strike away. But it's really worrying for Scotland at this moment in time.
No one's getting close.
You would think Ukraine at this moment in time have got that extra spring in their step. They look hungry for it, they look aggressive, they're on the front foot, they're doing everything right. Scotland just don't know how to deal with it.
I tell you what, they're not looking tired either. They're looking sprightly as anything. On top of that, every time they pass the ball, they've got so much space. Now, isn't it Scotland playing that midfield that seems to be able to get, I was going to say make a tackle, but even get close? They've been so outplayed at the moment, Scotland.
Fueled by a sense of national pride, showing spirit and character in abundance, and the technical ability as well from a footballing point of view. Ukraine deservedly are ahead. 7 minutes into this second half. 2-0. And Scotland, who are unbeaten in 8 since Denmark actually beat Scotland when they were away from home in Denmark 2-0, could be coming to an end. And for Ukraine, the 5th time in a World Cup playoff tie. They failed to progress in the previous 4. This time, it could be their time. Although Wales might have something to say about that on Sunday.
You just look at like that, Stepanenko getting on the ball there, lots of time, lots of space, head up, picking a pass, starting off moves.
You can't get near it. Remember, if you look back to when Scotland started this system against England, and you had McGregor and you had Gilmour in that midfield, and they utterly dominated the midfield. They're not getting a sniff. They're not getting a kick at the moment.
Cut out by Mykolenko, brings it down, plays it inside. Matvienko, Stepanenko out to the Ukrainian left back, forward to Sihankov, just lifts it forward, running off the ball with Zinchenko inside towards Yaramchuk. Yaramchuk tries to get past Hanley, who comes across, leans into him, and then drops to his knees, and the ball actually runs behind for a corner. Hanley was looking to the Dutch referee Danny Macaulay for a free kick. Instead, to his amazement, it was a corner kick.
I'm not giving him a free kick there.
Neither am I. He's a big guy.
He's
50-50.
He wasn't strong enough. I mean, he gets in front there, but he's run out of legs, and I think he's just fallen over because he's tired. The referee's got that one right. It's a corner kick and another half chance for the Ukrainians.
Zinchenko to take it on this near side. It'll be an outswinger off his left foot. Scotland have everybody back. Every yellow shirt is in and around the penalty area. In it comes now. Hanley with a header away. Karavayev will retrieve it far side for Ukraine in field. And it is with Malinovsky. Floats the ball forward. Zinchenko scored at that end last June when they beat Sweden here in the Euros. That was just before we had a penalty shootout. It was the last minute of extra time. No extra time tonight the way it's heading, because Ukraine are just looking for more and more goals. They are playing with a real sense of adventure on the front foot, and again more boos and jeers you can hear around Hampden as Ukraine get a corner.
When they do something extreme here, and I won't be surprised if Stevie Clark's next move will be a temptation to lose a centre back. You know, get somebody out of that back line, go to back 4 and just get a little bit more help in midfield.
Corner taken short. See Hancock with the cross. Headed out. Fired back in then by Karavayev on the volley, right-footed. Couldn't keep it down. Out it goes for a goal kick. 2-0 to Ukraine.
Why not? Why not have a strike from there? I know it's a bit audacious, but especially coming from a right back, but why not? You're 2 up.
Well, there's great confidence about them as well. And look at the difference now. The second half, Ukraine are saying to themselves, we can go and actually press Scotland high here. They weren't thinking about that in the first half. They were managing the game well, but now there's a real belief in them, and they're making Craig Gordon hit the ball long.
Gordon with the goal kick, headed powerfully away by Stepanenko. Yaramchuk tries to lift it over his head, and there's no one running forward on this left-hand side. It'll go out for a Scotland throw.
Then I'm just looking there. I was watching Steve Clark there. He's definitely changing the formation. McTominay's went into midfield here. He's went to back 4 and he has to.
Is he listening?
I think he can hear you. He's got the radio on down there.
But I mean, it's so obvious. I mean, you're 2-0 down. You're getting towards the hour mark there. You've got a midfielder who's in that back line. Get him in the middle of the field there and try and close down.
Back pass to Bushchan, charged down by McGregor. That could have gone anywhere. Instead, it's gone out for a goal kick. Bushchan was extremely fortunate.
Yeah, very fortunate. He took his time, and it gave McGregor that opportunity to really close him down. Sometimes as a team you need something like this to lift you. What we were talking about earlier, Pat, you need a little lift. Yeah. This could be it. He's really lucky to get away with that, the goalkeeper.
It was a very heavy touch. It was passed back to him. It didn't really do him any favours. And as he cleared it right-footed, McGregor running in, that could have cannoned anywhere. But for Ukraine, it went behind and out for a goal kick. They still lead 2-0. 57 minutes played on BBC Radio 5 Live. Yarmolenko wriggles his way past and now decides to run field. He's got Yaramchuk up with him. Yaramchuk now looking towards the supporting run in the midfield of Karavayev. Flags up anyway, wouldn't have counted offside. It runs agonisingly wide of the left-hand post, but it will be a free kick to Scotland. But again, the amount of yellow shirts flooding forward.
Yeah, they're not thinking about retreating half. This country doesn't retreat, do they? Yarmolenko is on fire. He's absolutely brilliant. He's a great player anyway, but tonight he is very special.
Here is Yarmolenko to Zinchenko. Mikolenko running forward on this near side, the left. Went under the feet of Hanley. Was able to be cleared by Gordon. And now tidied up by Zabana, the central defender, back towards Bushchan. Still Ukraine 2-0.
It just looks like everything Scotland are trying to do at the moment just isn't working. Yeah. Whether it be a pass, anything.
They're in again here, Ukraine. See Hancock, got runners off the ball. One of them is Mikolenko into the penalty area, hasn't been properly dealt with. And then Robertson tucked in as a left back now. Remember, they've gone to that back four, able to clear. Up towards Adams on the halfway line, towards McGinn. Goes sliding into a challenge with Stepanenko, and the referee didn't like the look of that challenge, and he's going to take action against McGinn, and it's a yellow card.
I think that's fair enough. Not seen it again, but I think John McGinn's studs were showing a wee bit there. I don't think he can have too much to complain about. John looks tired tonight.
He does. It wins the ball, but it's a bit of a heavy touch, and then he does jump into it.
Yeah.
And he misses. He catches the player. I think it is a yellow, isn't it?
I would say think yellow, as in at least.
I was speaking to your good friend David Moyes last week at the LMA Awards in London, and he was telling me about how Yarmolenko will be so up for this game because of what's at stake. And sometimes you wondered whether the emotion would get the better of them. It's not though, is it?
We talked about it beforehand. They've used all the emotion. I mean, Alan said exactly that point in the build-up. You can use that emotion in your favour. Well, they have definitely done it tonight. And watching the likes of Yarmolenko, I mean, he is flying to. I've never seen him play this well in this language.
It's a fine line, isn't it? To just keep your cool, and I think he's just found the line perfectly.
That sense of motivation driving Ukraine on with Malinovsky. 25 yards out from goal. Ukraine lead by 2-0.
They are men possessed. I mean, John McGinn's getting basically run into the ground, can't get a kick. And just watching McTominay, who usually fights like a tiger, just get brushed off the ball effortlessly there. And it's happening all over the field with every man in yellow just wants to push it that much more than the blue.
That's the thing, it's still hard to fathom. These players are getting messages from the front line of genuine fighters protecting their country in a war, saying do it for Ukraine, and that's what's driving them on, and they're certainly doing it. Leading 2-0, half an hour remaining, Scotland 0, Ukraine 2, and Yarmolenko, from a challenge coming in from Cooper, has stayed down over on that far side of the field.
No, it's the rolling back onto the field that's the problem with Scotland fans. He was about 2 yards off and they rolled back on to show that he's going to get back up again.
It's amazing to think, though, everything that we speak about that these players are going through, and supporters and as a nation, and you've got people like Malinowski who's got the freedom of Hampden, nothing, it's space, and he's so calm and composed. He can just pick a pass whenever he wants.
It's a brilliant performance so far by Ukraine, an absolutely brilliant performance.
Malinowski lifts it forward, headed away by Robertson for Scotland. McGinn, Ukraine fighting for every loose ball. Yarmolenko lifts it forward. Zinchenko said last night they would have that fighting spirit, and they're certainly showing it here, as now it's with Mykolenko. Sihankov is coming short. You wonder, with that lack of match fitness for a lot of their domestic players, they've only played 3 friendlies in Germany and Italy and Croatia, whether they will tire. No sign of it so far, as Hickey comes forward for Scotland, plays a low ball in, went past Adams, and it was saved low down by the goalkeeper.
That's perfect. That's what you want from your attacking wing back, full back, putting the ball into a great area, very dangerous.
Cleared long by Buschan. Cooper comes across, plays it forward. Here is Gilmour, midway through his own half. Zinchenko was quick to close him down. Cooper's clearance. McGinn tries to wrestle away from Mykolenko. Inside now, carried forward by Christie for Adams. Adams might have been just back on side. Back towards Christie with the shot. Left-footed, flag raised. Offside.
Yeah, Adams was offside when he got the ball there, but that's slightly better from Scotland, getting in a half-decent position there. Lifted a little bit by that moment down the right-hand side, Hickey, because he does play a good ball, and it shows he's got that quality.
You can hear the racket of Hampden Park.
They're getting a wee bit fed up with Yarmolenko at the moment. He's going down every time, and he's tired anyway. He's been brilliant today, but he's going down, he's wasting every second. He knows the importance of this.
Remember we spoke about being clever, being a smart player.
Yeah.
He understands that Scotland were in a good bit of possession there. They were attacking, going forward, making things happen. So I'll just slow things down.
Yep.
The Ukrainian support away towards our left, as Sihankov has a shot, but the referee's whistle has blown, bouncing up and down in unison, just that sea of yellow and blue.
Very noticeable there. Scotland won a free kick there, and they jog up to it and they take it slowly. You've only got half an hour, you're not getting into the World Cup, you've got to move it much quicker. That sometimes tells me, I'm not sure everyone believes that they're capable of doing this, but if they get one goal, Scotland is going to make it some finale.
24 years since Scotland's last appearance at a World Cup. Steve Clarke making a point yesterday that they will not be one tournament wonders, whether it be 2022, 24 or 26. He believes in this squad. Of course, he signed a new contract through to the Euro 2024 qualifiers, but here he finds himself and his players 2-0 down. And if you discount the Czech Republic match where they lost 2-0 here in the Euros, it was technically a neutral venue. As Adams sends over a cross, headed away. They're actually unbeaten in 12 for designated home games. But they've got an awful lot of work to do, as McTominay now playing in midfield. Tries to prod a ball through, but cleared away by Zabani, and it runs away off the legs of Gilmour, and it will be Ukrainian throw on this near side. And now Yaramchuk is the player who's gone down holding his ankle, and again the referee just tells him to get up, but they have worked themselves so hard.
Yaramchuk, it looks like a touch of cramp to me. It looks like the calf, and look, after everything that's gone on and not being able to play the games and such, you understand that it's such a big game, but look, they're being clever about it. They're just breaking play up, making it difficult for Scotland to get into any sort of rhythm.
Yeah, they seem to be getting little bits of rhythm for a moment or two. and then it just falls away again because of, you know, the cleverness of the play. And it's not just rolling about, it's holding the ball sensibly and intelligently, as Zinchenko's doing right now.
There's activity down below. Jack Hendry is going to be coming on as McTominay wins the ball in the midfield. Scotland trailing 2-0. McGinn picks it up now, right corner of the area. Inside, leaves it for Christie. Floats over the cross. Robertson making that run round the back. Zabani has to hook it away. Deep inside his penalty area, off the chest of McTominay to McGregor, far side the left. Time running out for Scotland. They need 2 goals in a 25-minute spell here, plus stoppage time on BBC Radio 5 Live. Otherwise it's Wales against Ukraine in Cardiff for a place in the World Cup finals on Sunday, as a misplaced pass from Gilmour, well behind McGinn, out of play, Ukrainian throw.
I mean, that's a boy with all the talent in the world, and he just needs to put a simple 20-yard pass to John McGinn's feet, and he put it out of the pitch. I mean, I know it's a pressure situation, but he has to do better.
He's expecting to be controlling games, and he's got very, very few touches in that midfield, partially his own fault, partially the style in the first half. But at the moment, it's hard to see too many Scotland players who you think are playing actually particularly well or close to the limit of their ability.
It's going to be a double change. We're going to see Jack Hendry coming on, who plays his football out in Belgium, as McGinn with a cross. It's a good ball in as well. Zabani has to head it away. McTominay brings it down. That was charged down then by Matvienko. The legs of Matvienko, and cleared by Mykolenko. Stuart Armstrong is also going to be coming on, the Southampton midfielder. So Steve Clarke looking to make a double change as we approach the midway point of the second half, and Scotland need 2 goals. Christie coming in now off the right touchline, left-footed. McTominay's ahead of him. McTominay with a cross. The goalkeeper hasn't got there, and then McGinn running forward from close range, heads it somehow wide, and he can't believe he's placed it the wrong side of the post. What a golden chance that was for Scotland.
I can't believe it. I genuinely can't believe it. It's well worked by Scotland. They get a ball into the box for McTominay. They're very lucky. The keeper gets a parry to it. It only pops it up into the sky. John McGinn has got the freedom of the goal just to nod it in. And he's just tried to be too clever. He's tried to put it into the corner, and he's just put it by the post.
If you wanted any Scotland player at all to be running onto that, that's exactly who you wanted. And as you say, he's tried to be too precise. That is a golden opportunity, and by some distance the best opportunity Scotland have had. And what a difference that they've made to this stadium and this team and this belief had he scored.
Jack Hendry's come on for Liam Cooper in the centre of defence. Scotland still now playing with a back 4. Stuart Armstrong has replaced Billy Gilmour in the midfield. We're midway through the second half. Ukraine lead by 2-0. Stepanenko gets the decision in his favour from the Dutch referee. It'll be a free kick to Ukraine.
That could have made some ending. I know they've still got time, still got plenty of time, but that had to put a span in the works.
Scotland win the ball back through Christie, high up the pitch. Robertson with the cross, headed away by Mykolenko, the left back tucked in, heads it away. Headed back then from Hickey. Tussling for the ball in the penalty area was Adams. Hickey tries to join the attack. Still, this Ukrainian side will not yield. Armstrong inside. McTominay, right hand side of the penalty area, takes a deflection, loops up, takes it away from Christie. Picked back up on the far side, cross deep back towards the far post, drops out for a goal kick. But Scotland now putting under Ukraine under real pressure.
Well, I see Scotland have actually turned up. It's taken a long time, a very, very long time. It's taken a number of tactical changes as well, but you can see a massive lift in the team, and they must be able to sense the tiredness in the Ukrainians as well.
Yeah, Ukraine will definitely tire, but I think one of the biggest things there, as you mentioned, one of the changes, Ryan Christie has made a massive difference. He's been calm on the ball, he's seen passes, he's made things happen, and as I'm just watching him there, he's just geeing up the crowd, getting them going. He's made a big difference.
Alexander Petrikov looking to try and maybe make a change. We might be seeing Shaparenko coming on. It'll be a double change. The other player is going to be Mudryk, who's going to be coming on, as Yarmolenko to Yaramchuk. Yaramchuk to Zinchenko inside the D. He holds on to the ball, just slightly drifts away from the penalty area. now to Sihankov outside the box, still waits, holds onto the ball with his left foot, plays it back to Mykolenko, trying to wrestle back some of the control due to that Scotland pressure as Ukraine lead 2-0. And it's Hickey who wins the ball midway through his own half. Up it goes towards Adams, and this will be Matvienko who turns away from the Scotland forward, and back it goes to his goalkeeper, urged on by the crowd. Scotland try and put Ukraine's defence under pressure. 20 minutes remain. They'll be grateful of the cushion from that goal at the start of the second half, Ukraine, although they're not showing any signs of any weariness as the ball is played forward. Sihankov now running forward. Sihankov coming in from the left-hand side, onto his right foot, saved by the legs of Gordon from Sihankov's shot, and once again Gordon comes to Scotland's rescue, because the third goal there for Ukraine would surely have settled it. On that far side, Karavayev to Yarmolenko, looks onside. Yarmolenko with a cross, nobody in there in the penalty area. Hickey slow to react, runs off the shins of Hickey. It'll be a Ukraine throw-in.
Yep, it's the left foot thing again, isn't it? He wants to take it on his left foot all the time, Hickey there. He looks a little bit tired, but he's a better 10 or 15 minutes, Hickey. But right now, with that tiredness beginning to show the Ukrainians, no surprise whatsoever, they're going to make a couple of substitutions themselves in a minute.
Aaron Hickey has to be careful though, because him and Hanley need to talk.
Yep.
Ukraine with the cross. Mykolenko is looking for a corner kick. It goes behind instead for a goal kick. So we're going to see Mudryk coming on, making his debut. He's an under-21 international. He only joined the training squad to make up the numbers, but he's really impressed when he was called up for in April. Plays his football for Shakhtar Donetsk, blonde-haired midfielder. And then we've got Shaparenko, 5 seasons at Dynamo Kiev. He's actually played in 16 of the last 18 internationals. So a lot of experience coming on for the number 10. And it's Sihankov and Malinovsky.
Malinovsky, that's right.
So Malinovsky will be replaced by Shaparenko in the centre of midfield, and Sihankov will be replaced by Mudryk, making it his debut. And what a proud moment it will be for the 21-year-old, especially when you consider what is at stake. 18 minutes remain. 2-0 to Ukraine here at Hampden Park on BBC Radio 5 Live. McTominay along the ground, finds Christie just outside the centre circle of the Ukrainian half. Out it goes to that far side for Robertson. Back inside, Hanley, relegated with Norwich City this season, back to the Championship. McTominay inside to Stuart Armstrong. Stuart Armstrong with a shot off his left foot. Didn't really pose a problem to the goalkeeper. No real power, and he didn't really have to extend himself.
No, he didn't, but this has been much better. And I think since the proper change at half-time, as we spoke about when Dykes went off, to get the likes of Christie Armstrong in those positions, feeding Shea Adams, that's when you can make something happen.
It's also helped if you went to 4 at the back. You've got another midfielder in there as well, and you're not getting passed around as if you're actually not on the field. They were chasing shadows for such a long time, whereas in Scotland now they're playing much better. They're getting the odd chance and the odd half chance as well, but they're very much running out of time.
They are indeed. 17 minutes of normal time. Ukraine drop off. Ball played forward, cut out by Zinchenko. He's been everywhere, Zinchenko, the Ukrainian captain. And then a challenge comes in on Yarmolenko, but in fact it's an earlier foul on Zinchenko outside the centre circle, where Danny Macaulay has brought play back for Ukraine.
I think it actually wasn't deliberate. I think Christie just ran into him. They caught each other's feet, and Christie's saying, well, I didn't touch him at all. But again, it slowed the game down, and Scotland need to get a little bit of momentum going again. It's died a little bit since those 2 substitutions, hasn't it?
The voice of Pat Nevin and Alan Hutton on BBC Radio 5 Live, also available on BBC Sounds. Up it goes to Yaramchuk, plays the ball out to Yarmolenko, back to Zinchenko. Ukraine all in yellow, from right to left as we look here on BBC Radio 5 Live, still under the clear blue skies in Glasgow. Back it goes then to Georgi Bushchan, the 28-year-old goalkeeper. Matvienko takes it into his feet, plays the ball forward. Mykolenko of Everton. And then it was Shaparenko and Stepanenko who both had a little touch, and then along the ground, laid off by the blonde-haired Mudryk, and then the ball chipped out long towards the right-hand side. Karavayev ducks underneath it. Yarmolenko, link-up play here. The football very smooth from Ukraine as they work their way downfield. And now it's with Shaparenko coming forward once again. He scoops it towards Mudryk, takes it in his stride. Looks so easy for Ukraine as they lead 2-0. Very slick passage of play from Ukraine. And we have a quarter of an hour remaining on BBC Radio 5 Live for Scotland to try and find 2 goals. Otherwise they'll be facing World Cup disappointment. But it's Ukraine who've got the control back now, dictating the play. Given away though by Shaparenko to Stuart Armstrong. Forward ball. Christie latches onto it inside the centre circle. Hits the ball forward. Adams gets there. Right corner of the penalty area. Might have to go it alone. Adams does a little step over. The angle is tight. Still forces a save. Comes back to Adams. Goes into the challenge. Comes out to McGinn. And then it's deflected over by Matvienko for a corner kick to Scotland.
You know, it's a great break though. But what is incredibly obvious to notice, Adams goes there, gets into the box. There's one blue shirt within about 40 yards of him. That's not happening with Ukrainians. When they break, they're getting 4 and 5 and 6 in the box. They're clearly sharper and fitter than the Scotland players just now.
They are. They're showing. They have been incredible. And let me tell you what just answers all that what you just said. John McGinn has just cramped up when he took that shot there, and I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No,
ever.
He's a long way away from the John McGinn when he's at full mid-season form. He's a very limited effect in the game today.
John McGinn, 36 appearances for Villa this season, and it's he who takes the corner kick. It's a very, very deep one, headed back by Hanley.
That's deliberate, that one.
Dovbyk is going to be coming on. There's going to be another change as well. Zubkov is another player who's going to be coming on. No surprise that Petrikov wants to change it. But of course, for Dovbyk, plays his football for Dnipro, second season in Dnipropetrovsk. He, of course, has fond memories of Hampden Park because it was he who scored that late goal just before the end of extra time last June here when they beat Sweden by 2-1.
And I thought that was emotional that day. It was 120 minutes, maybe 121 minutes. It was an incredible game of football.
Zubkov plays his football in Hungary for Ferencváros in Budapest. And that's where we'll be on Saturday night, Hungary against England. Commentary in the Nations League from 5. Tomorrow night, Northern Ireland, Greece. Live commentary in the Nations League. And then on Sunday, we'll be in Cardiff for what looks like Wales against Ukraine. So the double change about to be made for Ukraine. Scotland with 12 minutes remaining of normal time. A 2-0 down here. Here comes the change. Yaramchuk, who got that second goal, is going to be coming off for Artem Dovbyk. He was the top scorer before the Ukrainian league was abandoned for Dnipro. So Yaramchuk comes off, and then Alexander Zubkov is going to be coming on, and he's a midfielder, and he's going to replace Yarmolenko. And Yarmolenko just passing the captain's armband, or passing something on just to delay his substitution. He's told to hurry up by the referee. So Yarmolenko comes off. So both the goal scorers for Ukraine make way. Under 12 minutes remain. High line for Ukraine. All in yellow to defend this free kick on that far side, the left. Needs a good delivery for Scotland. Robertson takes it, left-footed, arcing its way into the penalty area. Headed away. McGregor tries to wrestle away from the challenge of Zubkov. And then the ball is spread out by Robertson, out towards Stuart Armstrong. Bounces off his chest, waits, lets the ball settle, hits it high, left-footed. Bushchan gets a hand onto it, comes back towards McGregor, going towards goal. Excellent goal line clearance, flags up, goal's given. It's McGregor's effort stands, the desperate goal line clearance all in vain. Scotland have got a goal back. It's Scotland 1, Ukraine 2, and what a finish we have here at Hampden Park.
They've just taken off the 2 goal scorers. They were just trying to see through the game. Now, with that goal going in, I didn't think it was over, but the assistant referee flag. We're going to see a better look at it now. Obviously, they've got goal line technology. It is over by millimetres, if it is.
Bushchan, wow. 2 mistakes there. He comes out flat, it drops. and then McGregor gets a good strike on it, and he flaps at it again, just has the power to reach the back of the net. Good goal, game on.
Just listen to this noise inside Hampden Park. I bet the radio's crackling because my eardrums are being pierced.
Well, listen, astonishing now. It's a very, very little time Scotland have got. They've only got 10 minutes. They'll be desperate now. They'll be wanting to get it on too quickly now. But there's so many defenders in the way. They must be tiring. This is going to be an incredible 10 minutes of football.
Scotland 1, Ukraine 2. We're set for a stirring finish with so much at stake. Here is Christie inside the penalty area, goes behind for another corner kick. And Ukraine are going to have to dig really, really deep.
Scotland were looking for a handball there. The ball was crossed in there. They're getting the corner kick. They're not getting the handball for a penalty kick.
Yeah, I don't think it was, but I mean, Scotland are just in the ascendance, and you can just feel it ramping up, just feel it building. Something's bubbling.
Corner kick to Scotland, far side the left. It's an outswinger. Hanley's up from the back. Mudryk now collects the ball. Mudryk runs forward, and then with a lovely forward ball, his opportunity here to release Dovbyk. Dovbyk inside the penalty area. McGregor was the player who tracked back to take it away off his toes. He concedes the corner. What a run was that from McGregor.
He's no right to get close to him there. You've got to say that's a problem with Dovbyk. And look, we know he's not the quickest, but he took an eternity to get that ball under control. Scotland let off the hook again.
What about the ball from Zubkov?
Yeah,
outside to the right foot. Wow, that was special. But McGregor just shows you the fitness levels of that boy. He never misses a game, whether it be Celtic, Scotland, and he can still do that.
Well, he's just saved Scotland's chance of the World Cup right there and then.
Corner kick to Ukraine. Pulled out to the edge of the area. Karavayev chips the ball back inside, headed away by McGinn, lifted back inside the penalty area, and then it's Adams who skied it rather than cleared it long. Up in the air it goes, 35 yards out from goal, headed forward by Zinchenko. Ukraine making sure they had enough yellow shirts back. Now Mykolenko along the ground, looking for Mudryk to make the run in behind Hickey. He's a live wire, the blonde-haired midfielder, couldn't keep the ball in play. We've talked a lot about the emotions of tonight, and then to cap it all, we've got this finish to put the emotions through everybody through the ringer.
It's incredible. Do you know, if Scotland do get a goal now, you cannot see Ukraine recovering from it because of what they put into the game and all the emotions that are now coursing through this stadium from the Scotland fans. But that's a big if Scotland are going to get that goal.
Hanley sliding in was Mudryk, got the ball first. It was Hickey who went down.
It doesn't matter how badly he's up, he's got to get up.
But it will be a Scotland free kick with 7 minutes remaining. It's taken short. Hanley to McTominay. Blocked by Stepanenko. It was he who had that goal line clearance as Mudryk goes down. Referee tells him to get back to his feet. They're looking for a free kick, and then scythe down there. Christie against Shaparenko. Ukraine putting everything on the line here, and a yellow card has been shown to Mikhailo Shaparenko, the substitute.
It just shows you it means everything to everybody out there, doesn't it? I mean, we said about everything going on, you put that to one side, it's all about what's happening in this 90 minutes, this moment in time. They're putting everything on the line.
To be honest, they're losing control just a wee bit just now, the Ukrainians. They need to get that back under control.
Free kick to Scotland, right-hand side. McGinn plays it inside. Christie comes short. Stuart Armstrong chips the ball in. Headed away by Stepanenko. Won back by Stuart Armstrong. Hickey on this near side. Waits. Left-footed. Swings the ball over. Hanley stayed forward. Gets his head on it. Stepanenko heads it away. Karavayev now brings the ball forward, potential break on. And it's with Zubkov who's able to turn out towards that far hand side. Inside now to Zinchenko. Passes the ball forward. Shaparenko, left hand side of the penalty area. Mudryk's made the run off the ball. Back inside to Zinchenko. Can't imagine what's going through the minds of these Ukrainian footballers when they know that they're so close to achieving a victory that would mean so much for Ukraine, but they're going to have to try and find just 5 more minutes of resilience to try and keep this Scotland pressure at bay, because Scotland are coming on strong.
They are coming on strong, but they've not created that many clear-cut chances so far since they actually scored that goal. They need to get into more dangerous play, and they need to be cleverer in building it. They've done a little bit better there, though.
5 minutes remaining. BBC Radio 5 Live. Steve Clarke having a word with John Carver of his coaching staff down below. McGregor to McTominay. Forward ball. McGinn missed that sitter. Out towards Stuart Armstrong. Fires in the cross. Comes to Robertson. Can't get a sight of goal. Turns inside the penalty area. Zinchenko with the clearance. Hanley joins the attack. And all becoming a little bit desperate. Breaks down. Armstrong unable to get there. Break on now for Ukraine. Urged on by Petrikov. It's Mudryk. Forward ball looking towards Dovbyk. But back there was Hendry towards Gordon, who's made a number of fine saves throughout the game. This means so much for both nations. The levels of respect that were shown ahead of the game, and then we've had a great game of football with both sides going for it.
It's been brilliant, and that's why, because both sides are going for it. But Scotland need to watch the back door. They're throwing everything forward, but it's allowing Ukraine that opportunity to break on them.
Do we care about the back door? There's only 4 minutes to go. Scotland need to throw everything at it.
I would think we're looking at least 4 minutes of added on time with the amount of substitutions that have been made as well. But we've just gone into the 87th minute here at Hampden. Hanley, midway through his own half. The Scottish support still urging Scotland on. Can they force extra time? McTominay of Manchester United over the halfway line to McGregor. Out then towards that far side. Now it's with McTominay. Mudryk just gets ahead on it to prevent it from reaching this near side, and Hickey. It'll be a Scotland throw that Hickey will want to take quickly. The seconds tick by, the minutes are ticking by.
There's not enough movement in front of him. Someone has to show for it.
McGinn lays it off. Hickey goes down. Mudryk marshals the ball safely out for a goal kick, and that is awarded by the referee.
Pat, you're totally right. I mean, you want to create that opportunity to get the ball, play it back, dangerous into the box, and just nobody's moving in front of him.
That's a really surprising thing there. You've only got 2 or 3 minutes left. You see the World Cup slipping away, and no one's running towards the throw-in. And you waste 10, 15 seconds there. And it's easy for us to say, oh, we know the lads are tired down there. But you've got to give everything you've got for these last few minutes.
Bushchan with the clearance, 2.5 minutes of normal time. Headed on by Zubkov, used to the hand. It'll be a free kick to Scotland, which is taken quickly. It's with Hickey. Drives it downfield in the air, forward pass. Adams can't control it. Matvienko leans into Adams, who got the last touch. It'll be a decision's gone in favour of Ukraine from Danny McAlee.
I think it was a foul.
It's a foul. It's a free kick rather than a goal kick.
Yeah, Adams is a little bit frustrated there, understandably so. But once again, the ball's been played up to him. There's only one Scotland player within about 40 yards of him. He just needs to throw everything at it now. Maybe just a corner kick, a free kick, somewhere where everyone can have a go at it and chase at it. Maybe even including Craig Gordon.
Scotland, who qualified for the Euros after 10 missed tournaments, were looking for back-to-back tournaments after 96 and 98. Well, they've got 90 seconds of normal time to try and keep that prospect alive. Wales await the winners on Sunday. But Ukraine lead by 2-1. Gordon to take the free kick. Left-footed. Downward header. Mikalenko tucked in, clears. Strains of Flower of Scotland inside Hampden Park as Hickey turns on the halfway line and goes back to Craig Gordon. By my watch, we're into the last 60 seconds, and then it's about how much the fourth official is going to add on. Ukraine are close. Mudryk, who's been a real live wire, didn't keep the ball in play. It'll be a Scotland throw on the halfway line. All eyes on the fourth official. Will it give Scotland fresh impetus in the closing stages? Hickey finds McTominay. Had to dig the ball out towards Robertson. Left back sends a left-footed ball. Hanley stayed forward in the penalty area. Zinchenko hammers the ball away downfield. Dovbyk will give chase. Robertson miscontrols it. Gives Dovbyk an opportunity to run forward now for Ukraine. Dovbyk still got some support. Passes the ball forward to Zubkov, making the run in the penalty area. Tired legs. Runs it out of play for a goal kick.
Just get everybody forward now. Just let's go for it.
Because there's not enough urgency. I can't believe there's a lack of urgency. And we look down in front of us here, how many minutes extra time?
4 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. You can hear the roar, the Hampden roar. For Scotland, who need an equaliser. McTominay's forward ball, it's a good one, he finds Adams. Adams just can't get away. And Karavayev concedes the corner kick. The Scotland pressure is immense.
They're throwing everything at it. Shea Adams does well. Armstrong does well. We're just looking, is he going in?
As Craig Gordon wants to get up there. He's had a fairy tale career. This would put a 10 lid on it. The manager's not letting him go.
There was a wag of the finger from Steve Clarke to say, you stay there. Corner kick in injury time. Left-hand side, it's high. Hanley's header is off target, and it runs out for a goal kick. And by my watch already, 1 minute of the added on time, and there's a sign of cramp there for Mykolenko of Everton.
Can I make a promise for you? He won't put the extra time on for this injury, because they never, ever do.
Mykolenko back on his feet now, gets the thumbs up from his coach. They're going to make another change as well. It's Sidorchuk who's coming on, a very, very experienced midfielder for what would be his 48th cap for his country. They should add that on. They should add on at least 30 seconds for every substitution. That's what they say. As it's Mudryk out to Karavayev. Ukraine with a slender lead. John Souttar's going to be coming on for Scotland. Zinchenko goes in between three Scotland players. It's not a bad forward ball, and then the opportunity fell to Alexander Zubkov, and he's put it wide inside the penalty area. Left-footed, couldn't guide it goalwards, went wide. That was a great chance.
And Zinchenko has been outstanding this evening as well. His feet are terrific. He finds Zubkov in a good area, gets the shot off unlucky.
By my watch, we have under 2 minutes of stoppage time remaining. Scotland still trail by 2-1. What a header away by Stepanenko for Ukraine. Comes out towards McGinn. Can they get the ball into the penalty area? Hickey delivers it. Hanley with a header, who stayed forward and directs it wide. Goal kick, Ukraine.
The problem is it's all been like that last 10 minutes or so. There's nothing sophisticated about for Scotland. It's lumping the ball in the middle, and the quality of crosses hasn't been good enough. And you know, you're having to put Hanley up there as a centre forward to go and chase it. It's old school stuff. You understand why Scotland are doing it, but at this level, you sometimes need something a little bit more sophisticated.
Souttar's taken his seat down below, but Sidorchuk is coming on for Ukraine. He is going to replace Stepanenko. I mean, to a man, Ukraine have been absolutely outstanding. Stepanenko has certainly served his role very, very well to protect that midfield. Sidorchuk will do exactly that as well. High fives down below. We're inside the last 60 seconds of stoppage time. It is still Scotland 1, Ukraine 2 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Hickey hits it long. Adams flicks the ball on. Now or never for Scotland. Hanley, who's now playing as a centre forward, lays it back to Stuart Armstrong, coming in off the right touchline. Robertson just outside the centre circle. Ukraine win the ball. Zubkov now running forward. He's got options. He passes the ball now to Dovbyk. Just wouldn't go with him. Got stuck underneath his feet. Zubkov still prevents Scotland from getting the ball forward. And by my watch, the 4 minutes are up, and Ukraine are still flat out on their feet, urged on by Zinchenko. What an achievement this will be for Ukraine. But in stark contrast, the huge disappointment for Scotland.
Just maybe one more chance if they can get the ball. Scotland have to get it into the middle. The referee's looking at his watch. There can only be one chance.
The 4 minutes of added on time are up. Robertson hits it long. They're looking for a dramatic equaliser. Edge of the area. Zinchenko brings it away. Zinchenko looks around and will run the ball clear. He passes the ball forward, and now it's with Dovbyk, who runs forward. This is a chance to seal it, and Dovbyk has done exactly that. He scored a winner right at the end against Sweden last June. And Ukraine are flat out on their feet. They can hardly celebrate. But Artem Dovbyk has got the third goal. And that settles it. The sadness for Scotland. But it's an unforgettable night against all of the adversity. Ukraine have triumphed by 3-1. Artem Dovbyk right at the end. 3-1 Ukraine. What a finish.
What an amazing night for Ukraine in general. But the space was there. We spoke about it. I said earlier on, you have to be careful. It's a lovely run from Zinchenko. He just holds it, waits for the right moment, and just feeds the ball through into Dovbyk, into his path, and it's just a great finish. He takes his time, puts it by Craig Gordon.
But it's unimportant. It's now unimportant. The one thing that is important is that's beautiful. That is a beautiful thing to see. Unless you are Scottish, you're watching that and thinking that is a moment of real beauty from what Ukraine have gone through, what they've done, how they've stood up to all sorts of problems. And I'm not talking about footballers here, I'm talking to the entire nation. And that team tonight have reflected that beautifully. Well done, Ukraine. I am proud of you.
It was the last kick of the game. The full-time whistle has sounded. Scotland's World Cup dreams are over. But it is an unforgettable night for Ukraine. Their players motivated to offer their country some respite, no matter how brief, from the horrors of war. And now they are a game away from the World Cup finals as they celebrate in front of their supporters. And the Scotland players are just so despondent. But it was a marvellous game of football. But the full-time score here at Hampden Park, Scotland 1, Ukraine 3. Emma.
What a gripping game that was. A breathless end, Alan. Such an incredible atmosphere inside Hampden. I mean, it's a real cauldron of mixed emotions right now, but looking at the pictures on my screen, I can see the Scotland fans, like Pat Nevin alongside you, still finding it within themselves to applaud the Ukrainians and enjoy that moment with them. But ultimately it has ended in heartbreak for Scotland. They will be so disappointed that their World Cup campaign has ended like this.
Yeah, of course they will, but look, this is amazing. This moment in time for this team in front of their fans is truly special. It's better than anything. I mean, what they're going through, what they're feeling now, what a release. I mean, and overall they've thoroughly deserved it. They were the better team by far. And yes, if you're a Scotland supporter, Scotland fan, you're going to be disappointed. You're out the World Cup now. It's a difficult one to take, but sometimes when you get beat off the better team, that's not a problem. You have to just take it on the chin and move forward. And well done, Ukraine. I thought they were outstanding this evening.
Yeah, Ian, it's come at a cost to the Scotland fans. Their World Cup dream is over, but the scenes in that away end just paint us the picture. It looks quite something.
Well, can I just say as well, Emma, the Scotland supporters who've remained in Hampden now are applauding the Ukrainian players. They've just broken away from celebrating in front of their 3,000 Ukrainian fans with the blue and the yellow flags away towards our left-hand side. And yet now the Ukrainian team are going around this Hampden Park pitch to acknowledge the Scottish support.
Yeah, and it's lovely to see that. It's a brilliant moment. The roar you're getting here is a lot of it. The Scotland fans applauding those Ukrainian players. They are applauding Ukrainian players. They're also applauding Ukraine. That's what that's about there. And it's a really nice moment. And you talk about the disappointment. Yes, you are disappointed. But you can hear in Alan and I's voice, there's a level of disappointment we accept. You take it. Better team, they deserve to be here. Quality was brilliant from all the way from the start of the game, and maybe struggled in the last 10 or 15 minutes, understandably. But if you go out against a quality team like this, that have got this modern history behind them, you don't get too upset.
Each and every one of those players out there taking it all in. None more so, Alan, than the head coach, Alexander Petrikov. What a job he has done to get this team together and to see them so composed out there today as well. It was one thing how effective their tactics were, but the mental strength those players have showed too. What he's done inside that camp in the last month or so, it is quite something.
Yeah, of course, and it must have been difficult. You think the Ukrainian league shut down early, obviously, with everything that happened, and then to have the training camp start at the beginning of May, then you need to try and raise your level because you know you've got this big game just round the corner. You're playing friendly games. It's not the same, and it never is the same. And it's up to the manager to get these players motivated, to get them going. Not that he needed to, because we could tell that right from the off that these players were up for this game. But so calm on the side of the pitch. He got his instruction across, game plan to a T, and thoroughly deserved that win. Special moment for him, his squad, and they move on now to play Wales for an opportunity to get to a World Cup.
Plenty of reaction coming in on Twitter at 5Live Sports. Colin, poor performance from Scotland tonight. Clark has got this badly wrong. Just on Scotland, Pad, I think you used the word sophistication towards the end there, and that they were really lacking it. And actually across the 90 minutes, apart from that spell where McGregor got the goal back, and for about 10 minutes or so they were really piling on the pressure, it was like nothing was really working for them. Do you think ultimately it was actually the occasion got to Scotland more so?
Do you know that we'll be raking over the coals of this for quite some time in Scotland. Certainly the idea of going with two centre forwards in the first half and playing the ball long and a more one-dimensional game than Scotland are used to, it didn't work. I'm happy Stevie Clark changed it at half time because it's a mistake, and I understood why he tried it, but it absolutely didn't work. And then when they start the second half, all they needed to do was get into the game. Then he lost that goal right at the start of the second half, and that changes all your plans. If you're a manager, everything's gone out the window again. So in the end, you get that last 10 minutes with a lumping the ball forward. By that point, you're saying fair enough, because you have to try everything. You throw your kitchen sink in it. But when you sit back a little bit and look at the entire thing, you have to take it into your mind. Scotland didn't play anywhere near the best tonight. Nowhere near the best. A lot of Scotland's best players were way down in the quality that they've given in many past performances. And sometimes you just don't know why that's going to happen. Might be the manager, might be the tactics, might be the end of the season, might be the fact that you're playing against a team who are better than you. And I suspect it's the last thing that was the most important thing there tonight.
Well, Hampden looking largely empty now, certainly in the home stands, but the Ukrainian fans in there certainly making the most of this wonderful moment. Alan, I suppose coming back to Scotland and the occasion tonight, in any normal circumstances, it would have been Scotland's night. Those stands would have still been full now. The bookies had them as their favourite. The preparation was all there, certainly compared to the opposition. But it became Ukraine's night. How much of a part do you think that played? How difficult do you think that was to shake for the Scotland players, especially as the game went on? Yeah, possibly. I mean, only the players can truly answer that. I mean, me sitting from here, did I think that was Scotland's best game? No, far from it. I thought they played a lot better in the past. Of course they were missing big players, Tierney, Patterson, like guys like this that can really affect things and make it different. But look, Pat said it there, sometimes you just get beat by the better team. It's quite as simple as that. Scotland looked tired to me, and I thought it would be Ukraine that would be the team that would tire towards the end, but it wasn't. It was Scotland. Long seasons for some players, possibly. The occasion got to them again, possibly. But all being said, Ukraine were the better team. They won 3-0 and thoroughly deserved it. They're better tactically, they're better technically. Their passing was much, much better when they had to hold the ball. Their game management was better. All over the field, they were better than Scotland in just about every single department. So at that point in time, you're not sitting here complaining and moaning, and yes, as I say, you can rake through the coals of it. You can say you shouldn't have done this at the start of the game if you were the manager, but he's tried all these methods before and they've all worked at various times before. I'm not sure, looking at the players that were out there tonight and looking at the players and the quality that you got from Ukraine tonight and the spirit and heart that they showed, I don't know if there was a way around it for Scotland tonight. And in many ways, reaching as far as they did, still being in it, Scotland got a wee bit lucky, because by half time they could have been 2-0 down and they would have been out of it then. Ian, it sounds like the Ukrainian fans are still in there, very much taking this all in.
Very much so, jumping up and down, still with the flags flying. Zinchenko threw his shirt into the crowd. Yarmolenko threw his yellow shirt into the crowd. Travelled from all parts of Europe and the UK, I would imagine, to be part of this occasion here for Ukraine. And the reaction from the Scottish supporters as well was extremely touching. So a line of stewards in their luminous jackets, but eventually they're going to just start drifting towards the exits and then thinking probably how they can get to Cardiff, because now all of a sudden, you know, that's the next aim, and that's what they're going to have to recover from, because they've given so much in this game, both I think physically and mentally, the way that they were up for it, and we could see that, the way that they performed. But they're now going to have just a few days before they go to Wales, who, let's not forget, are unbeaten in 18 home matches since November 2018 at the Cardiff City Stadium, to try and achieve what is their aim. Zinchenko was telling us yesterday that, you know, they're getting messages from the front line for the soldiers saying that go out and do it for Ukraine, and therefore it's their dream. Ukraine's dream is to stop the war, but from the footballers' point of view, their dream is to get to the World Cup, because it would mean so much for Ukraine, and they're now 90 minutes away from achieving that.
Just for some perspective on what this means, and I suppose the reality of what is still going on in Ukraine, on Twitter this evening, there is a video doing the rounds that there are fans in Kyiv who have been taking this in indoors undercover because of an air raid warning. We talk about the mental strength the players have shown out there tonight, but to know this situation is still very much ongoing. But some real jubilant scenes in that video, fans wrapped in flags, embracing each other, celebrating the goals as they go in. And let's just throw this forward then before we hand to the tennis team this evening. It is Ukraine that will be playing Wales in Cardiff for a place at the Qatar World Cup.